Hello, everyone, and welcome to Chapter 9 of Story 1 of Very Angry Dogs. Before we get started, I'm going to kick it over to Chris Allen, who's going to give you guys a little bit of a catch-up as to what happened last chapter. So, Chris, why don't you take it away?
Hello, welcome back for Session 9, Chapter 9 of The Hunt, the first story of Very Angry Dogs. As per usual, content warnings relating to occult horror, paranoia, body horror, violence, and a general slew of other horrible things that happen to people in games of Werewolf the Forsaken. Although it's likely to be quite focused today, the blood spray is mostly going to be contained to one building. As of last time, we left off with 14 werewolves in one barn. It sounds like the beginning of a porno movie. I assure you it's not. This time, the pack have facing down pure and forsaken alike, werewolves from both sides, from the packs across the Blackmoor Vale, in a celebration, an honouring of the dead great aunt Clarice, a presentation of trophies in her honour, and any other business the werewolves happen to decide to get up to while they're all condensed together in this rather tight space. That's really where we're starting off. We've got this barn, nicely, moderately refurbished largely by Stormbringer, enough so the building's not going to fall down anytime soon, at least. We have one butchered deer, carved open, carved up, the smell of blood rich and heavy in the air, and the two elder werewolves present having been offered by Stormbringer the knife to take the first cuts from the corpse. We have a few trestle tables loaded with booze of all manner of kinds, including a big cask of cider from a local brewery that the pack owe a spirit the duty of making sure that cider is all completely drunk, or there'll be trouble, Sonny. You have a wolf-blooded in the estate house nearby, watching over things with a little walkie-talkie. You have a spirit, the spirit in question who wants you to get drunk, also watching over the area for you. So theoretically, at least, the perimeter is secure, or at least being observed. And you merely have to concern yourselves with what goes on within this barn. The wind is howling. Rain is hammering down, the occasional grumble and crack of thunder overhead as the storm that Stormbringer summoned still assails the skies and pours down drenching curtains of water rattling across the roof. A few leaks in the barn you've now discovered. Things to patch up later, perhaps, but not too many. You know, it's still reasonably. It's getting quite warm in this barn now, given you've got all these werewolves shoved in here. That's not to say you're all cheek to jowl. There's enough space in this place, even with the trestles and the tables, and sufficiently so that one table where you had placed the severed heads of your own trophies under canvas, the other packs as well have placed shrouded objects on that same table now, alongside yours, to place them down. Several of which look, well, at least one of which you're pretty sure is another severed head, given some of the red stains on the canvas which it is wrapped in. 4 packs, apart from yourselves, as a reminder. The Galley Crows have sent 4 fire touched, including the strange thing called the Dead Thing, One Hand Ash, Mercy Through Flames, one of their brawlers, and Yanis, a young man artist apparently who seems to be recently changed. The Misghasts, the Ivory Claws, have sent Sarf Sunchosen, an extremely powerful pure who is apparently trucked with the Hellions of the sun itself. Jonathan Dunstan, general dog for you to kick. A proud fellow under most circumstances, tall, broad-shouldered, well-built, looks rich, good background and all that, good clothing. Currently is very, very wet, pissed off, and grumpy. And
I have no idea what you're talking about.
And a third member, a young man, although flesh distorted and warped, accompanied by the stench of cooking flesh, as he is manacled, muzzled, and has silver spikes driven into his flesh that continue to burn and boil even now, in a head game move of something that is clearly what the Ivory Claws do as part of their torturous rites they inflict on themselves. The damage has been in there for so long, he appears to have either exhausted his death rage already, or is moving past that, neither of which is a great outcome. You have 2 werewolves from the Fairfax Dogs, a Forsaken pack, the young aunt, her mother, the old Bone Shadow, Prayer of Castigation, and then you have 2 from the Spear Wardens, Linebreaker, a black British fellow with very heavily tattooed, and the Arms Master of the Spear Wardens, and Weeping Blood, a lanky young woman of the Hunters in Darkness, who demonstrated why she's called that when she sliced open the flesh beneath her eyes to carve her cheeks with trails of blood. The injuries have since healed, but the picturesque spatters still run down her cheeks. The air inside this barn is tense. It's hot now, it's humid, but there is tension. Unsurprising at all. As we left it, the 2 elders had, well, the Prayer of Castigation had taken the knife first, carved something out of the corpse, and then said, "Shall we get started then?" And as she hands the knife to Sarf Sunchosen, who takes it gingerly, gives a smile, a really sort of shallow smile to Prayer of Castigation, a very fake smile, and nods and cuts something out of the corpses or entrails as well. There was a bit of brief low chattering in here before things got kicked off. I'm actually going to ask you to start off with today a wits plus politics rolls for those who wish to make them, to get the rough lay of the land between these packs and their members, to start this off. You do not get the +2 bonus from Hunting Ground because these are not members, people who dwell on your hunting ground. I think that is specifically for denizens of your hunting ground rather than...
Okay, all right. So can I ask what the downside of a critical failure would be in this?
This is nothing really on this. This is a you might get something slightly wrong-headed, but it's not going to be a serious issue in general. It's just failing to understand.
Okay, no, I'm only asking because all I've got is a chance roll.
Same.
All right, I'm actually going to take this as a critical failure, though, because I really want the beat for the pool.
I don't really have a good critical failure to give you, unfortunately.
Oh, okay, never mind then.
Access to information you wouldn't always otherwise have.
So there's no downside to trying, so I'm just going to roll it.
Oh, shit!
Wow! I pulled it off!
Nice.
Once again, Stormbringer pulling shit off in the social circles that he should never be able to do.
Stormbringer's so intense social food does indeed continue. In another surprise turn of events. So, and if it was Chance Die for you as well, wasn't it?
As well, correct.
But the only person who gets one is Stormbringer. Okay, so you're at the head of this whole setup here, and you've had a chance to watch you've been focused on thinking about Jonathan Dunstan and cutting the deer up. But to a certain extent, whether you like it or not, you've picked up a few hints about what's going on here, watching how people are aligning. So the obvious factional divide in here, in terms of tension, is between the Forsaken and the Pure. Right? Nothing surprising there. You don't need to be, you don't need to know much to know that. That's what you expect. There are some other tensions. In as much as the Forsaken and the Pure are communicating with each other, the 2 members of the Fairfax Dogs have had some quiet words with the Fire-Touched of the Gallicrows, and the Spear Wardens have had some brief conversation with the Ivory Claws of the Misgasts. These were not hostile conversations. They were tense, but they were not outright hostile. So, however, the tension is very strong between the Fairfax Dogs and the Ivory Claws, and between the Spear Wardens and the Fire-Touched. There's the obvious tension between the 2 elders, between Prayer of Castigation and Sarf Sunchosen. There is also a particular... so Weeping Blood appears to be dead set on antagonizing both Mercy Through Flames and Clear Stream, both with the Fire-Touched and the Ironmaster. And that'll be the last. So those are the things you pick up on in terms of current things that are boiling here.
Okay. I'm going to make a note of it, just for future purposes, because today I've got one goal in mind.
Yep.
Sorry, boys.
The elders cut the carcass, their portions, and then Sarf looks at you and goes, "So, well, thank you for the prime position on this carcass. Are the rest do you want the rest to come up and have their piece, or are we getting on with the rite now?
Ah, shit. And here's where the social abilities go straight downhill. I don't know what the appropriate kind of custom would be. You know what? Fuck it. I'm going to. And this was the which one said that? Prayer of Castigation.
Soft Sun chosen pure.
Okay, the one that I actually kind of have a little modicum of respect for because she hates us that much that she made a deal with the Hellions. I'm going to I'm going to look at her and be and flat out. I'm afraid I don't know this particular local custom yet, so I defer to your wisdom as to what is the appropriate plan of action.
Oh, I thought this was some delightful American custom, given you carved up a deer for us all and offering us pieces to begin with.
It is.
I assumed you would know what you were doing.
It is, but beyond that, I do not know the local custom for the purpose of the meeting itself.
Ah, well. Prayer of Castigation with the arms crossed, watching this goes. Well, I guess we might as well get on with the rite then, with the honouring of the dead.
Thank you.
No point buggering around with more. No point buggering around with more scraps of meat. Sure, people will want to partake of them later. Sarf gives her another very shallow smile. I have just closed my notes. Come back, notes. There we go. And goes over to her packmates and says something quietly to One Hand Ash as well. Prayer of Castigation looks at you as if she's going to say something, and then frowns slightly and looks around to see where the hell Johnny is at this point in the.
I'm still there. I'm not that.
Suddenly he's behind her.
I'll join.
Floating in the background like Nosferatu.
So suddenly he's behind her with a string of cheese hanging out of his mouth. What's up? Like he's been caught off guard.
Oi. This land is yours. Get up here.
I head up to, I guess, the center of the barn.
We told you there's ways this thing is done. We've gathered to celebrate and remember the life of an old wolf beneath the new moon, since she is pure after all. That were no mistake on their part. This is a moment of memory and regret, pain and truth. Sadly, I have to say, I'd rather not be here in many ways, but we are here. Do you have any ways you do this back home?
Not as formal as you guys like to do it. Probably would just crack open it and pour it over the grave.
Just respectfully. Right. There's the libation to pour.
I'm gonna make a wits and empathy roll, just kind of get a sense of the right way to approach this if I can. 5 dice for me. I'm gonna throw a willpower on it because I kind of don't want to fuck it up. Oh, wrong chat.
Just chucking dice rolls in random places, you know.
Right.
Well, I don't know if you can hear. I have a shrieking goblin outside the door screaming because you're not allowed in.
So fair enough.
So, to start with, Prayer of Castigation is clearly wants to basically handhold you through this, or control you through this as well. Tell you what you're supposed to do. At the same time, she's holding back, you think, because it's your territory, and she's trying to show you a modicum of respect, and she doesn't want to just tell you what to do. At the same time as that, you know, already with the libation, with the side of thing, which you wouldn't have known about, and you wouldn't have had any way of fulfilling. There's obviously an element of if she just lets you get on with it, you'll probably she thinks you'll blunder through a load of messes, essentially, and get things wrong or somehow. The gathered werewolves are watching with interest, probably partly to see do these American werewolves have something interesting or different, and partly to see how they're going to fuck it up. Simultaneously, they do appear to be attending with a certain air of gravitas to what's happening. They're expecting this to be an honourable and respectful memorial of a dead elder. So they both want to see you fuck it up, but they also, they are here in good faith at the same time.
It's morbid curiosity.
Yes.
We've come here to honor the life of Clarice Galloway, an old wolf who many of you have respected, and who has left her territory to me. Yeah, no, that was... He pauses for a second. I didn't know her, but from what I see here, she was well respected among both the local pure and the Forsaken. I'm sure that respect was earned through both combination of fear and through her own political maneuverings. So, let's honor the dead. Try not to destroy her home. And I reach into my my coat, because I was trying to conceal the bottle, because I don't want the pure knowing that I knew I had it.
Mm-hmm.
So I slip it out, spin it, and uncork it. Apple cider, Kestrel Hall, 1987. I hear it's a vintage year. And I pour it out on the ground for her.
As you pour it out, the smell of the cider is somewhat vinegary now, as you would expect, but it hasn't gone completely foul, So you pour it out. As you're pouring, Clear Stream is trying to looking at you meaningfully across the other side in the ranks, and kind of goes.
Oh, and I cut. I'm gonna make an empathy roll to see what she means by that.
The time. No, she's clearly trying to indicate something that probably isn't a watch, because you probably don't even have one. But
I think wait, I think it's got to be blood at the same time, right? So I slit my wrist with the knife that I have from the fire touch, and I also let that seep into where I poured the cider.
Grace sort of nods when you do that, so that was clearly what she was trying to tell you to do. The Weeping Blood has seen this interchange and is looking mildly amused by it. You kind of let the blood spray, and then you obviously already, by the time you finish, the cut is already starting to heal up from your regeneration. The blood sloshes out, mixes with the cider on the floor of the cracked floor of the barn. There are when you've done that, you see there are several wolves looking expectantly as if to move forwards. They're from basically one from each pack. They have got bottles or small containers from their bags and packs, but they are waiting for a moment. They're waiting for you to give some sort of signal. They should now, or whether you've got anything else to say, essentially.
And I don't have anything more to say, but I gesture to Saft Sunchosen.
Mm-hmm. She gives a thin smile, gestures at Dunstan, who pulls out basically a small bottle from his coat, hands it over to her. She flicks her wrist, her palm open, bleeds as she uncorks the bottle, pours out the cider, bleeds it out. No one questions any of the other packs' side. No one's like, "Is that really from your orchard?" That's just an assumption. They probably would have questioned yours, but you kind of preempted it by saying the vintage and all that. Clear Stream goes next.
Chris, just real quick. When Dunstan, when she makes the motion to Dunstan to pull the bag out, I kind of give him one of those smiles that's like, "Go ahead, little doggy, do what your master says." Because I'm still playing games with him.
Yep. Clear Stream pours out the libation for the Fairfax dogs. Linebreaker pours out the libation of blood and cider for the Spear Wardens. And Mercy pours out the libation of blood and cider for the Galley Crows. There is now a sort of spray on the hard floor of the barn. There's this, now the smell of blood is even stronger. There's not just the butchered carcass. There's 5 werewolves' blood and cider vinegar in one case. Really mixing and stirring in the air. Once they've done that, Prayer of Castigation looks to you and says, "I ask the master of this house, may I please what does she say? I'd like to invoke Ceres. Do I have your permission?"
Sure.
She sweeps out of the bag a collection of young crop, like basically very early growth crops, fruits, other things like that from springtime, which obviously some of the berries and stuff, there's a lot of stuff that's just not mature, but it's almost like from the bag she spills it out on the ground, and some older ones probably from last year's harvest as well, but some grains and stuff, spills it out across the libation. The pure, there are frowns and unhappy faces, though largely get controlled by the pure at this, as Prayer of Castigation says, "I invoke Ceres, the goddess of plenty, the goddess of earth, the goddess of mothers, the goddess of life. She who our forebears worshipped, and their forebears and theirs. She who came to this land and gave us plenty. She of the Avestinians, she of the plebeian. May she bless this earth, the earth in which Clarice is dead. Turn death to life. Turn flesh to life. Turn endings to life and new beginnings." Steps back. Sarf looks at Sarf glances at Johnny and says quietly, "May we offer our own words of the old wolf?"
Please.
Smiles thinly again, steps up. "I imagine at the funeral for the old wolf, various humans said various platitudes about her. Offered kind words for an old lady's life. An old lady they only vaguely knew, and certainly didn't understand. I'll keep it short, of course, but Clarice was a pure of great honor, pure of great vision, pure of great insight. She roamed this land longer than anyone else here alive in this barn. She knew more of its secrets, understood its soil, the life and death within it. And we have lost someone important in her death. After all, if there are too few predators, prey runs unchecked, and it goes ill for the prey. Words alone cannot say enough about the contributions of the old wolf to this place, of her family to this place, of her lineage to this place. She narrows eyes and looks scrutinizingly at Johnny. We'll see what that blood brings forth from the soil next, what crops sprout in her wake. We will watch carefully. But this is a place, as prayer says, of life. Life from death. Renewal. The question we all have to ask ourselves is this. If Clarice saw us now, I think she's looking very scrutinizingly at Johnny, what would she think of us?
When he's sure she's done speaking, Thornbreaker actually clears his throat and jumps in and says, and I'm going to use Voice of Glory here, so let me just spend my essence there. Voice of Glory. I just get to add it. That's fine. Okay, so he's going to speak up. He's going to say, at least she won't have to worry about the prey running unchecked in her land. And I'll make a presence and presence, persuasion, and then my glory to that. So it's going to be...
Okay, yep.
That was beautiful.
Throwing the hand grenade in. For any listeners who are concerned as well as the hand grenade, who haven't caught all the previous episodes, essentially the state of the territory that the old wolf has at her den is atrocious because she hasn't been tending to it at all for quite a long time, apparently. And so essentially, Thornbreaker is calling out the dead wolf for not having tended her territory.
We lost Thornbreaker.
I'm going to use... Oh no. I'm going to use a point of willpower as well on this. So it's going to be 10 dice total.
Yep. Just Keith, we just lost your visual.
7 successes!
Oh, baby! Sorry about that.
That's all good. Well, that's all your 5 dice failures. That's where they were storing.
That's where they were storing up. Oh my god.
Yeah, right?
Okay, so you basically step out and call the fuck out of Clarice, who is, by the way, very dead. She would probably not react very happily if you'd done that. The reactions are varied. First off, generally, they're not in every case. With those successes, the werewolves are kind of impressed you've actually stepped up in the middle of a ceremony to honor the dead and basically said that she sucks.
Chris, just real quick, when I realize what he's saying, I'm gonna step up behind him and kind of, stand up and like, yeah, he said it, and I stand as the alpha of this pack. I stand behind it. And if you all got a problem with it, bring it.
Okay.
And can I just use my...
I'm gonna back him up. I mean, if he's gonna throw the hand grenade, I might as well lob in a piece of C4 while I'm at it.
Can I use my Araka ability just to give Saf Sunchosen a better impression of me? Just remove 2 doors.
Yes, you can. Yeah. Especially in comparison to your packmate here.
No,
I just don't want him to get his ass kicked right away. That's all.
Okay, so the reactions are varied. Weeping Blood chokes back a laugh and is trying not to just cackle. Clearstream frowns and smiles at the same time, like she's trying to keep a straight, look serious and concerned at your disrespect, but is also really trying hard not to smile. Prayer of Castigation literally just laughs. Linebreaker gives you looks respectful at you daring to step up and say this, but also looks very concerned. Among the pure ranks, Saf's smile remains, but it is much colder than it was. Jonathan Dunstan's trying not, doing this choking on drink kind of moment. The chained up guy doesn't really, is scowling, but was anyway. He has silver driven through his flesh. One Hand Ash scowls, but again, there is a certain amount of respect at the fact you've just stepped up in front of everyone and said this so boldly and well. Dead Thing looks unfazed. Mercy looks again respectful but angry, and Yanis is just like, I don't really understand what's going on. Like, why is that? Why is that a problem? Everyone looks very angry or concerned. I don't really know why.
This is beautiful.
Was there anything specific you were intending to get out of the gathering by saying that?
Basically reinforcing our strength. So while I did mean it to be sort of a courteous, polite dig at Clarice, it was more a matter of reinforcing because, you know, she's like, oh, we lost this powerful predator and now the prey is going to run rampant. And it's just sort of a reminder of like, don't underestimate us. The prey's not going to run rampant on this territory.
A lot of people have taken this as a serious dig at Clarice. However, the effect is very much that you feel they have got the impression you feel very confident and strong in your territory. They believe you are saying this from a position of strength, in as much as they think a pack of 3, so it turned up, can have strength. They are very much going right. They are going. This guy's really confident enough to step up and say this in a way that seems to be, you know, suggesting that she wasn't doing this.
With that, I'm gonna head up to the canvas where our prey is located.
As the kids these days would say, Thornbreaker just said, "Fuck around, find out."
Yeah.
In a room full of werewolves.
By
the way, I'm using my commemorative mug today. Big Dog makes the rules. If I like it, it's mine. If I can take it from you, it's mine. Where's the other good one? There we go. That one is another good one. The big dog is not responsible for missing cats.
So in the quiet, like, the noise after you said that of people like just laughing or scouting in disbelief, like, wow, that's fucking bold. Linebreaker moves to fill the gap before anything goes sideways and says,
Bloodtown lineman, armsman of the.
Thank you. Okay, I'm trying to remember people as we go.
He sort of runs his hands over his sort of close shaven head. As Saf said, as the Sun Chosen said, Clarice was here for a long time. Her family was here for a long time. For a long time, they've been the axle, the spoke, the center around which the wheel of our packs rotate. The veil matters. We know this, our kindred knows this. And it was the Kestrel's children who served as the center to that understanding. For all our clashes and our troubles, they made sure it held. They're gone now, all of them. Clarice was the last. There is no center anymore. Johnny, I'm sure we all hope your pack will serve as a worthy new heart.
Right.
Because it matters. While age took her, while she fell into herself and her territory became a closed book to many of us, she still represented that. Now that she's gone, a wheel with no center frays and breaks. I'm sure none of us want that. Perhaps Clarice's legacy should be the renewal of that, the strengthening of that which binds us all together here. After all, it's not just for our good, it's for the good of our kin, our tribe mates beyond these boundaries. The veil matters, don't forget that. Clarice never did. He nods, steps back.
Thornbreaker nods at Linebreaker respectfully.
One-hand Ash steps forward. He gives very brief things. Who knew the gods as well as she? Who knew their mysteries as well as she? Who knew their history as well as she? None. That's what we've lost. and it is a true loss. She steps back. Pull up my notes again. The tension is still is there still, but there's also
Oh, you cut out.
the tension is there still, but there's an additional frisson in the air from
Cut out again.
proclamation.
There we go.
So after with those bits of speaking done, there's that odd sense for a brief moment of like there's a gap and no one's quite sure how to fill it. Everyone's still trying to just mentally recalibrate given off what was just said, and like sense of the pure hostility has increased, but it's not the aggression.
So,
has
I'm
not,
gonna-
I'm going to build on what Thornbreaker did.
Mhm.
Well,
Hold
what?
on.
No,
Hold
go
on a second.
really quick.
I'm going to poll you two real quick. And I'm going to be as vague as I can, so it's not, thinking outside the game. But are you guys okay with me doing a thing right now? It's not really going to be as big of a thing as Thornbreaker's thing, because he just kind of laid it out on the table like that, chucked the hand grenade in, and decided to see what happened. I'm debating on doing a thing though, and I'm just wondering what you guys think.
So
A thing, a follow up to Thornbreaker's grenade.
I was going to follow up too.
Maybe adding a little napalm on that fire. I don't know yet.
So
I'll just
Thornbreaker.
note quickly, sorry,
on.
Thornbreaker, you've also gained the steadfast condition for that exceptional success.
Steadfast.
So, depends. Because my thing was going to be like, all right, you jokers are all here to see what we can do. And I was going to, unveil.
Right. So I was going to walk over to the tarp. And basically, so since Pete and I more or less have the same idea, Pete, since we kind of came up with it, whatever. Basically, Stormbringer was going to walk over to the tarp, rip it back, and basically declare for those who are still unsure of our ability to keep the prey in check, and then rip it back, and just kind of let the horror speak for itself.
We presented.
But he was gonna do it with like this whole like staring at Dunstan to, again, like look at what I took down, bitch. I'm not afraid of you type thing.
Mm-hmm.
And for any of you that
Again,
doubt
continuing the mind games.
these are the claimed body of the 3 old ones.
So are you doing this then? Are you pulling
Yeah.
the tarp off? Okay, so you pull it off, doing the 3 warped heads.
For any of you doubting us, these are they were what the 3 claimed were called the 3.
The old
3.
Right.
The old 3. These are the claimed bodies of the old 3, and a head from the tree of heads that they are guarding. Pray that we eliminated our second night here after Dunstan initiated his challenge. Did anyone else act so quickly?
So the gathered wells, they see it pulled off. Mixture of reactions. Sarf literally just rolls her eyes at this. Like,
Bitch.
that's her reaction, is rolling her eyes.
That bitch.
And she says, as if basically she says to you as if you've just missed something blatantly obvious, and goes, "Where's the fire?"
Oh.
Before you answer that,
Shit.
before you answer that,
We are the fire.
before you answer that, the other things are there are people looking. Some are frowning. Some are like Yanis is like, the who. There's a few narrowed eyes. Some like Linebreaker, nods if that. But there's a certain amount of like So prayer of castigation goes.
You
There's
cut out.
Oh, prayer looks at you, nods, but there's something in her expression. She's about to say something, but Sarf has just said, like, "Where's the fire?" So there's a mixture of reactions, but Sarf is the one first in, who is apparently unimpressed with something and has just said, "Where's the fire?"
So with that being said, and I'm gonna kind of Jack's gonna be a little bit of a dick right now because she's
No, I'm
putting down
gonna.
his kill. He's
So
gonna pull
now-
out a lighter, a Zippo, click it, and throw it into the fire pit that he set up is gonna erupt into flames.
Okay.
You wanted fire, there it is. He's not gonna say anything, but that's the click.
Again,
throw it
another sort of. There we go. Yeah, as if dealing with unruly children, almost not quite mocking, but more like, oh, there we go, at last, like she said, well done, you caught up at last, kind of thing. You throw it in the firelights. Prayer looks across probably at Thornbreaker, actually, because you're the Caliph. Goes, a fine claim to a kill, but can you? Sorry, we see. But these heads are old. They're twisted. Claim for sure. Dugathim for sure. But they rolled back from where they was. And the old three is quite a kill to claim. Those of us who knows who they are know that. Ain't seen them for a while. Can you prove it? That it's the old three?
I tear off my shirt and I toss it to the ground. And I say, the stories of our kill are written in my flesh.
Well, that might be enough for us, but I doubt it will be for the Anshago.
I'm gonna.
And she looks. Sorry, say.
I'm gonna tap Johnny and hold my hand out for the dagger that he took.
Oh no!
I was gonna walk over and stab it into the ground.
No, I'm gonna.
We took this.
I'm gonna whip it into the ground at the Pure's feet. The dagger from the fire claimed.
All right, that works. I was gonna do it at Dunstan's feet because I want to keep pissing him off, but that's fine. If you want to ruin my chance to be petty, you're more than welcome to.
The Pure look at it, look up. Tension is escalated, but Prayer is looking quite intently at One Hand Ash, and says, I'm sure you wouldn't be happy if you didn't know for sure.
Chris,
So
real quick, what would be the role to? So I had a thought. We used the storm spirit to blow up the tree, right?
Hold on, I'm gonna take advantage of this one since.
Hold on a
One-Hand
second.
Ash.
Let me finish my question first, there, boy.
Sure.
So, I just had this crazy thought, and it's kind of one of those I'm not really 100% sure how it would be taken type thing. I have this deal with the storm spirits that I have to howl to them every time there's a storm. I have summoned said storm. I got some time yet before I have to howl.
Mm-hmm.
I was thinking about howling to the storm to call down one of their lesser, spirits to tell of how they came and witnessed the kill.
I don't think we should. I don't think we should rely on outside help. And I already am, just like you're moving into Dunstan's head, I'm moving into One Hand Ash's head. So I'm going to stride confidently across.
Well, Montfrere, please pay your rent and take up that space.
Exactly. I'm going to stride confidently across the room. I'm actually going to use my hunter's aspect to stare daggers into her eyes and basically say, tell me if I'm lying. So I have to make presence, intimidation, and glory. That's 1, 2, that's 5, 6, 7, 8 dice. Four successes.
Oof. Okay.
And I'm gonna, if it works, I'm gonna spend a point of essence to make it persistent with my cow the prey.
What is your hunter's aspect again?
Resigned.
Basically, if she's trying to defend
Cheerios.
herself from me with she can't spend willpower or anything. She's resigned that I'm the thing that goes bump in the night.
Okay, you have successfully applied it. She looks at you in a kind of. I wouldn't say she looks defeated. She when you were going over, she was firstly staring daggers at. She was staring daggers at Castigation, who appears to be trying to not call her out exactly, but Castigation trying to do something. She then pays attention to you as you come over and you pray and tell me I'm lying, etc. And she kind of, there's a sigh of resignation, not of oh no, I am doomed, although the thing's hit her, but more of a fine, I guess this thing that I'm being called up to do, I'm going to have to do. Linebreaker has looked, but several of the Forsaken are looking very questioningly at Prayer of Castigation, but no one said anything because you've now stepped up like that. One Hand Ash looks at you in a slightly tired way, goes, your tongue isn't the problem. Well, your tongue isn't the solution, unless you're dead. She rolls up, and not aggressively towards you. She rolls up the sleeve that you can see the hand, the severed hand she has, and the seam. The seam itself is not like a surgical seam. It's the flesh of the hand and her arm fused to this someone else's hand she has, and she gestures as if in a body language of, "Could you please get out of my way so I can do what I've apparently got to do?"
He smirks and lingers for just a moment longer than he should, and then he sidesteps and just gestures slowly
Is
towards
she heading over to the dagger? Because I would like to pick it back
She's
up.
heading over to the heads.
Okay, I pick it up.
I would just like to say, Thornbreaker, I'm in love. Well done, sir. You are now reaching Stormbringer level of pettiness, and I approve.
You're Stormbringer's Man Crush Monday now.
Yes. It's more of like my Padawan is learning.
One Hand Ash walks around the fire to the table. Her arm out like that.
You cut out.
Fuck are my dominance gifts?
Let's see if I'm working now. Can you hear me?
Yes.
You're back.
Yeah, plugging it back in seems to work as well. She flexes her arm and says, we'll say in English actually. And you see the lines of the fusion gleam slightly. It's not a burning of essence exactly. Something else is going on, and she says, "Come out and serve." And she twitches, like back twists, almost as if she's about to go through. When high harmony people try and shapeshift, it looks very painful. And from what you think, is she about to shapeshift in a really painful kind of way? But she, as if coughing, she retches, and something comes up, something white, not quite there. It's boiling and burning off at the edges, and she retches out a phantasm. Vomits out this part of stuff that rises that turns out to be in fetal position. Someone who isn't really there. They are human looking, apart from the fact they are in. They are in. You can see them because they had a manifestation forced on them. There is colour there, but it is mostly washed out. As this person picks themselves up from the floor, a man. May have been mid-40s, you think, in damaged, tattered clothing. The best you can tell, it's a ghost. He has one arm ending in a severed stump, although the other still has the hand. And he looks up and he's shuddering slightly, not from like physically shuddering, but as if the image is shaking. Looks in fear or shock around. And she says to him, "Speak to them. Who are they?" And he twitches and shudders as if compelled and jolts towards the table. And the ghost reaches out to each head. Around this, various werewolves are watching this going, the expression you get from the Forsaken, apart from castigation, is, "We didn't know Ash could do that." The Ivory Claws are like watching the scrutiny. The other Fire Touch presumably knew she could, but are not looking very happy.
Yanis.
Yeah, he's like going, but fascinated rather than afraid. The others are looking irritated, you think, mostly. The ghost reaches out to each head, touches it, and says there's like a cracking noise as if jaw is dislocating, but then the whispering voice as he says he touches each head. Each head he gives two names. He touches Grimmer's head and says, "Jack Robinson, Bor Grimmer," and then she says, "Next," and her voice cracks like a whip. Who's the next one? "Marabella Richard, Whalegrod, Bor Whalegrod." Next, And he steps up to the last one and says, Rebecca Winchester, who bought Julish, as if, and he's really sounding like he's in pain. Julish, and he steps back as if now he's done his job. Looks, shudders, looks around as if wild-eyed, and the fire touched meets the elder's eyes, then looks across to you. Goes, "It is the truth. These three bore the old three for some time. I say this to be true. Anyone who wishes to challenge my tongue may. But I hold to my oath to the tribe." And then her jaw cracks open, and she kind of does a reverse retch as she inhales the ghost back in, and then shudders and flexes the hand a bit. And glaring daggers at Thornbreaker, steps back over to her pack. Nods. "Well, it's proven then. Them's the old three. Of course, they've had a good couple of weeks to get mouldy, haven't they?
We're nothing.
Will you do us the honours?" she says, pointing at the fire. Point your head fire.
So for them to toss the heads into the fire?
Well, she's asking you to do it.
Oh, yeah. So, I guess all three of us will take a head. And then chuck them in.
Toss them into the fire.
Have we lost Keith again?
He went to use the bathroom.
Oh, it's just the wall behind him. I thought it was like a grey screen, but it's just...
No.
Right, okay. So the pack step up to throw the heads in. I'll probably wait till Keith gets back before we get too much onto it, but the rich smell of burning, rotten flesh now fills the innards of the barn. You have dead, butchered beer, beer as well, booze from the tables. You have cider, vinegar, blood, ash, fire, and burning, rotting human flesh. It's a real bouquet, a proper perfume.
And I guess we'll toss the head from the Tree of Heads as well, because we also claim that as one of our kills.
Yep. Yes, that's a fair point. So that goes into... what's up next? So, the Bone Shadow...
Johnny's feeling quite parched, so he's going to go help himself to some cider.
Okay. So just to catch you up, Keith, having had the fire touch summon a ghost which proved that the heads were indeed who you claimed they were, Prayer of Castigation asked Johnny to chuck them in the fire, as is apparently the way you do. So the pack each took one of the three heads and threw them in the fire as part of the offer of the trophies. So they're now burning, giving a really strong smell of burning, rotting meat to add to everything else.
Wonderful.
With Johnny stepping over to get himself a drink, Prayer looks at Thornbreaker and says, "May the rest of us also make our trophy offerings." Well, thank you. Just nods at Clearstream. Right. So the other packs begin to make their offerings, to present their trophies. Starting with the Fairfax Dogs. Clear River takes another bottle out of a bag. It looks something like a wine bottle, stoppered. There's no label on it of any sort. There are first tongue runes literally just scratched into the glass, but hard to see what they're like against the darkness of it. She's handling it. She steps up to the fire, holds it up. "In a manner of speaking," says the Ironmaster, looking briefly at, glancing over to where Johnny is getting a drink.
I'm turned around and I'm kind of like leaning on the table and sipping.
"In a manner of speaking, we got our trophy considerably earlier than 2 days after the Pure called out the pack can now claim this territory. This is part of the legacy that Claris left behind. It's our trophy, something we claimed that. Something that matters, or mattered to her in a way. It marked her life. In here is a spirit. Spirit of pain. It was one of the old wolf's. She, in her time, as I am led to understand, produced a number of laid the foundations for the birthing of many spirits into the shadow. Sometimes on purpose, often to her own designs. And this was one of them. The first, in fact. The first spirit she cultivated from nothing. A spirit born of her own pain and agony. This spirit was taken as a prize by the Fairfax dogs in a skirmish between the Kestrel children and the dogs in 1942.
Oh.
We don't let things go to waste. Knowledge is important. History is important. My forebears, she nods to her mother, my mother's peers, took the enemy they had captured, took this enemy and captured it. And imprisoned it via right, by the powers of the shadow and of Deathwolf. This is our trophy, taken in a way, in a manner of speaking, from Clarice, but we offer it now in memory of her. And there is a slight crackling in the static in the air. Something in twilight fumes out of it. A thread, a thing of needles, eyes, and bloody fat. Yeah.
You're cutting out again, Chris.
The spirit of pain is a thing of needles, eyes, and crimson bloody fabric shivering in the air. It hangs there. She nods to it. Goes, as my own forebears spake, you have served your time. She throws the bottle into the fire and steps away. The spirit shudders and shivers there. It doesn't say anything. It moves, and as if a frightened animal, it shivers away from the center into a corner of the barn, into the shadows there, cloaking its form. But it doesn't go. And you can see the eyes glinting there in the darkness and the glitter of remarkably detailed representations of needles and sharp, thin blades. She steps away. Sarf now smiles, perhaps more broadly and genuinely than she has done throughout this entire meeting, apart from the point where Stormbringer offered her respect before the carcass of the deer. She hefts up a pack by her. She goes to the table where there's a bloody thing wrapped up. In honor of our shared tribe, in honor of Silver Wolf's hunger, in honor of Clarice's endeavors, we offer this trophy in her name, in her memory. Considers for a moment, and then because she's obviously been watching the interplays going off here, and she looks very. Did I cut out? No.
Cut out.
She looks very scrutinizingly at Stormbringer, and then looks closely at Jonathan and goes, "Jonathan, darling, would you do the honors?" And steps away. Jonathan is somewhere between.
Hold on. Thornbreaker steps in at this point and says, "We will defer to our alpha to decide who will do the honors." And he looks at Stormbringer.
Wait, I'm sorry, I must have missed something here. What are we deferring? No, this is out of game. What are we deferring the honors to me for? I might have missed that there was an honor that needed to be decided.
Hey, don't look at me. I'm just.
No, can we rewind for a half a second? I missed something here.
I think I know what the trophy is.
Or did this not come in game? That I know what honor we're deferring.
the pure Sarth was about to present the ivory claws, the Misgast trophy. She then stopped when she's about to do it, looked at Stormbringer, looked at Dunstan. She's obviously been very clued in on the fact that you two there is unpleasantness there,
I hate Boner.
gestures at Jonathan to do the honors instead of her of revealing the trophy.
Okay, I'm going to smile at Thornbreaker for kind of catching on to the vibe that Jack was that Stormbringer was feeling. Just for everybody to know, Dan and I had a real quick aside about the vibe that I was feeling, and he had the exact same feeling. So it was kind of an agreed upon thing to step in and do. So Stormbringer's going to nod and smile at him, and thank you for bringing that up. I'm going to look at what's her name again? Sif?
Yeah.
Soph. Okay. I'm going to look at her and smile, and then in a very predatory kind of threatening way, walk right up into Dunstan's face, glare at him for a minute, and then tell him to present his trophy. It's like I'm showing respect to his elder, and then immediately pointing down. And you know what? I'm even gonna throw a fucking intimidate roll in there.
Okay.
Because I'm feeling very dickish right now.
I'm gonna walk over to Thornbreaker before it's presented, and I'm gonna whisper to him, "Get ready to jump on him," because I think I have an idea what the trophy is.
But
So hold on. It is what? Presence
plus intimidate. Before, just as you're about to walk over to Thornbreaker, and you still get to do that and say that. As you're about to do that, you hear Clear Stream, who's been standing next to you, say quietly, "You really probably should have checked the news." As you then you head across to talk to Thornbreaker.
So it's a.
And as she says that, I actually take out my phone and check the news.
Okay. So you're going to see the headlines and stuff referring to what is about to be said, more or less as it happens.
So. And the only reason I ask for the slight modification roll, Chris, is because Jack is not doing it in a trying to be the biggest in the room. It's more of that cold, that bone chilling fear or intimidation that you get when you look at somebody who just has no emotion left.
So what were you trying to ask as a modification?
Switch it to a composure instead of presence. Because it's that cold fury, not that big scary thing.
I'm gonna say no, because it's about your project. Yeah, it's about project.
Okay.
I understand where you're coming from, but in this case, I will say stick with the presence plus intimidate.
Okay, yeah. The only reason it's a slightly different kind of vibe that I was going for in the intimidation. So that would be fine.
Oh no, this is gonna be bad.
It's probably going to be different than what you're thinking. I think I know what you're thinking. It's probably not that.
2 successes.
Okay, so you do that step up to him, and you're pretty sure. It's not that you rattled him. He's already rattled. It's just there is very much that the antagonist there, and the other two who can see probably Sarth's expression as he steps up. Sarth is looking hilarious. She is trying
looking what?
You cut out.
You cut out.
Sarth looks delighted. She seems to think this is hilarious. Stormbringer won't see that because you were focused on at this moment on Dunstan. But the other two can see the elder is looking mischievous and entertained. Attention, and the other pure in the room are obviously hackles are going up, and the Forsaken in turn are going. And they're getting a bit warier because this looks like it might be a conflict about to kick off. But as you then let him go, you say he can do the honors. He grits his teeth and pulls away the wrapping, and beneath is a severed head. It's not someone you recognise. Was a man, youngish, late 20s probably. I don't know if I cut out. He still has, even in death, the kind of slick haircut that makes you think he may have been an asshole. The guy, he would have probably been quite handsome.
I don't recognize the guy at all.
Obviously, No, but we'll get to. But well, the only person who recognizes him is the person currently looking at their phone on local news, going, "Wait, oh yeah, that is that guy in that picture, isn't it?" He would have been quite handsome. Obviously, the ragged lack of body and torn off neck is putting an end to that. He's obviously quite fresh as well, quite a fresh kill. He clears his throat and says, "As the Sun Chosen said, in honor of Silverwolf and Clarice. She who cared so much for this land, for her family, has dishonored their family and dishonored the land." There's craning of things. So various of the people looking are going, "It is that guy." Like, you can see Weeping Blood basically going. You can see him saying to Linebreaker, "Fucking told ya." This is Lex Everington.
I have no idea who this man is.
He before he dives into further things,
I'm gonna look at him. He's giving a pause.
Licks his lips and swallows while he's getting ready to say the next bit, which is what he thinks. He obviously thinks the next bit is going to be the impactful bit, and is looking slightly nervous about saying it. In fact,
Chris, he's there's like a pause there.
Yes.
Okay, to kind of demean him a little bit, and demean the value of their kill, I'm going to look him dead in the face and say, "Is that supposed to mean something to me?" Because he's saying it like it's supposed to be somebody we all know, and I'm like, yeah, who the fuck is this guy? It means nothing to me.
When you say that, he is again on his back feet from that, but you get some odd looks from the other people, the other whales in the audience. They're like, clearly there's a lot of people going, "Wow, these guys don't check the news, do they?"
Sorry, I was busy rebuilding a house.
You were busy preparing for this nonsense.
This prey dishonored his family and the land, he claimed. He was an American. One of those American multimillionaire. Came to this land claiming to be seeking the roots of his own forebears. Throwing his money around like it was power. Claiming land to rebuild in his image. He brought to the Vale things the Vale did not want. He took portions of the Vale for his own. He did not respect it. You can see on your phone, Johnny, that basically, a noted controversial American multimillionaire, Lex Everington, found dead. Suspected headless body found at Lex Everington's new mansion. It appears this guy was a very, very rich guy, come over from the US. He obviously had, from a few generations back, somewhat family from the area who moved over to America. And there's the local BBC sub-section thing because he had a distinctive and belligerent style towards things like the local planning authorities and the like. And there's like some clips of him saying, "Yeah, I've come over and I'm gonna do all this awesome stuff and I bought this. And we're gonna build all this shit and all that kind of thing." He basically came over with loads of money and decided to build the picture. You're like going, "Wow, that is quite a tasteless building he's having built there." By the designs.
So
a lot of conflict with local people who were like, "This guy appears to be a jackass." At the same time, he was also plumbing a load of money into some local stuff. Although it feels like there may have been, you're reading that there's resentment towards the way he basically, the reading between the lines, he appeared to be trying to buy his way into there as a major figure. Which doesn't mean he deserved to be decapitated, certainly, but these are ivory claws. What can you do?
I'm confused. I'm sorry.
We got several people talking at once. Hold on.
Sorry, just out of game. I'm confused as to why everybody was worried about this.
Oh, I know exactly why, and I'm going to react to it.
I thought it was going to be somebody you knew. Like,
No.
Is this supposed to be an allegory of who we are?
Thornbreaker is now smiling, and Thornbreaker looks just as amused as Saf does, and he actually slowly claps and nods almost respectfully at her. And then he puts his hands down.
I'm gonna approach Jonathan. I'm gonna be like, cute.
So now, I'm not gonna lie. The look on Jack's face at first, or Stormbreaker's face at first, is kind of bemuddled. Like, okay, like this guy's a jackass. What am I? You know,
Okay.
you killed a jackass. Good
Thorn-
job.
I'm gonna.
And then when Thornbreaker claps and Johnny says cute, it kind of clicks that this was supposed to be. This was Jonathan Dunstan's attempt at an allegory for him.
Well,
right?
me really.
Either way, us in general as a pack.
But I'm
And-
gonna say, cute. You forget my oath. No sacred place in this territory will be violated. Step off.
So
Now, if you're
Stormbreaker is-
done, let the adults get to talking. And I walk away from him.
Stormbringer is now angry. Now that I've realized, because he's got that kind of he's got that jock mentality. It took a minute for it to click as to what was happening, and Thornbreaker's clap and Johnny's reaction went, "Oh, that's what that was supposed to mean," which to him isn't so much as an insult to his own intelligence, but almost like, "Wow, you guys are that pathetic that you had to go after a human and couldn't go after real prey."
So
And
Thornbreaker.
He's going, and Jack is going to, or Stormbreaker is going to back up a little bit, and everybody's kind of close together in a circle, I'm assuming.
Yeah, I mean, it's not a massive barn, so.
Okay. He is going to look at his pack mates and look at the other Forsaken and kind of give them this very subtle backup gesture.
Oh, hold on. There's still
Thornbreaker
more
shakes his
trophies?
head no.
There are more
Gently.
trophies to present. Oh, yeah.
There are more trophies,
Two
right?
more. Two more.
I'm gonna be like,
So-
The guy was going to, I want to lay down the challenge right fucking now.
No.
Nope.
And,
Thornbreaker
and
will do it
disrespect
right.
his prey.
Thornbreaker will do it right. Give it time.
Jonathan tosses the head into the fire and steps away, looking generally unnerved. Sarf is just like, this is fucking hilarious. It is almost, this is playing out perfectly kind of expression on her face. She's like the cat that's got the cream. Having seen things like, and the fact that it looks like Stormbringer might just, like, it's time now, Linebreaker, as what steps in very far, very like he's in, and I kind of, and the Spear Wardens will present our trophy. Yeah, he says.
I'm gonna glance, I'm gonna glance at Linebreaker, in kind of that, you know, you're right. I need to respect the remainder of the packs here, and step back. And as I do so, he's just starting to shake with rage.
Behind Linebreaker, where Linebreaker can't see her, you can see Weeping Blood, like, grinning at this, looking at you like, oh, it's gonna fucking go off, oh yeah! She looks like, yeah, it's gonna be a fight!
I just sip my cider now calmly.
Linebreaker steps forward. There's their thing on the table is not severed heads or anything. It's like a longer bundle, and he unrolls it, and inside it are two blades. They look like, I mean, honestly, I have no idea whether any of your characters know shit all about history or anything like that. Does anyone have any dots in academics?
I think Stormbreaker
I do.
does.
Okay.
I do, because I went to college.
Your best guess is that looking at it, they look like historical. They're obviously historical weapons of some sort. But
Intelligence and academics?
Give me an intelligence and academics roll, yeah.
Okay. Two successes. I know things,
Right.
and it fits because Jack is a war guy.
Yeah, you did a detour into some stuff to do with weapons and things at one point, which wasn't really part of a specific course you were doing, but was like you ended up with some books in the library and leafing through. And they look like they might be 1800s cavalry sabers, which would have been used by, for instance, British and French and all sorts of European, cavalry as secondary or later on primary weapons. But you're pretty sure they're that kind of era, from the way they're slightly curved in the hilts. So Linebreaker unrolls it, picks them both up, but in terms of with his hands like that, with the two blades across, he's not picking them up like a sword in each hand. It's time to fucking die, you know. He raises them up, looks at the Pure in a way that's not exactly hostile, but is more like a stern countenance. Linebreaker is here to teach lessons to people, as it were, and to be serious, and to be respected. He's not here to exactly, to go off on one or make people really upset. But he's obviously got a point he thinks he has to make, as well as respect towards the dead. These two blades were family weapons of the Galloways, specifically of the Sykes-Gleesham branch. They were born by members of Claris's predecessors, by some of Claris's predecessors.
Bless you.
Thank
They're
you.
weapons of honor, weapons of glory. Who knows how much blood and essence was spilled with these weapons? Some of it people were, the others forsaken. Those deaths, those injuries are ones that I, as Odaga, can never forgive, but I respect the skill of the wielders who won those victories. I don't know the exact date, but sometime in the 1960s, the Kestrel children lost these weapons. They were defeated by our allies, one of the packs in Hampshire. They took the weapons of trophies. Upon learning of Claris's death, I tracked down the current holder of these weapons. Now, much farther. Surrey, one of the packs there. A Forsaken. He did not wish to give them up. I duelled him for them and I won them as trophies. In respect to Claris, I offer them back to her now. And he stabs each blade down into the fire, into the ash of the fire. The flames lick up around them. He steps back. He looks like he wants to say something more, but doesn't, and steps away. Last of all of the trophies is the fire touched, the Gallic throws, and one hand Ash nods at Mercy, the heavily built the woman with military tattoos on her arms, who cracks her neck, steps up, goes over, pulls off the cloth off of the last shape on the table. This is another severed head, but it is rather different to all of those that have gone before. There are similarities. It's a severed head, obviously, and you are pretty immediately sure it was the head of a claimed. The difference is it was never human. The head of this thing is... I mean, you're Americans, your states are menaced by 30 to 50 wild boars or something. I don't know the stats. There's deadly porcine things running around the US, according to the memes. This was the head of...
Just Texas.
Okay, well, there you go. This was the head of either a proper boar or more likely a very big pig. That had been claimed. And this claimed was no fucking half measures either. It can't be that old. It certainly think it's less, and it's also been chilled as well, so it's less rotted anyway. But the mutations haven't withdrawn very much, or it was higher ranked than the ones you took down. The thing has almost like a crown of bony growths. The mouth looks like a fucking threshing machine of things. It's the flesh in places is interwoven with plant matter almost sprouting and rising out from it. It's got, apart from big werewolf like tear marks across it, presumably inflicted during a fight. This thing was a very, very mutated claimed. It was also really big. It may have just been before it was claimed, it was probably quite big. You're looking at that, trying to guesstimate the size of this thing. You think van.
Wow.
And she pulls it off.
Kind of upset I wasn't involved in that.
Mercy kind of looks, and you get the feeling she's almost, despite the fact this is a small gathering, and there's all the tension from both sides being hated enemies. She also looks slightly embarrassed, like she doesn't particularly like doing public speaking kind of stuff. She nods, frowns, looks very gets her bearing. I'm totally serious. I'm not worried about talking to a bunch of people. This was Sihamarhi. The old wolf had right of claim to this land. It was hers. She ruled it. Simahahi rejected that claim, as he's rejected the claims of many of all of us. Simahahi disrespected the old wolf and refused its rightful place in the shadow. It rejected the rightful order of things. And she's a far touch, so her saying this means this spirit was by far touch standards like out of whack in some way, which could mean that it was actually a real buddy with Forsaken. You know, that's how the far touch will go. But you know, or maybe something else was going on. This renegade therefore had to be culled. We have done so, and we offer it to the old lady as a mark of, after her death, nonetheless, her enemy has been defeated. And then she nods as if to gets hold of like the thick, bristly mane, which is parts of quill spikes, obviously plant growth. Gets the thing because it's quite big, and like hauls over to this big fire. You know, crunches it in and like presses it in among the flames, but she gets like burns on her. She really get it in, and then now you have the actual smell of pork, except it's mutated pork in the air, roasting up. She nods, looks one hand. Ash is like nods reassuringly to her, and she makes her way back over to her pack. There is again that moment of like there's certain expectations of what happens next, but people are kind of sort of not quite. They're not exactly looking to you to give guidance to what happens next, as they're sort of expecting there should be next steps, but no one's quite sure if you know what they are, or alternatively, if they're going to be something different going on here. And Prayer of Castigation is like trying to catch Johnny's eye in a kind of. Can
I give her a wits empathy roll? Like, take the lead. Prayer of Castigation, take the wheel.
Yeah.
One success.
Okay. Yeah, there's a bit of unspoken body language, and give her a nod. She nods. We all see these offerings from all these packs to the old wolf. I'm sure she'd see them with the respect they're given. I'm sure she'd accept them with the honor they're worth. Every pack here has proven itself, either by the words of either by the diktats of its patrons or by the strength of its deeds. Every pack, she says pointedly, looking at various members of other packs, not you. Every pack here has shown their right to be here. To bring an end, then, from endings, new beginnings, from death, life. That is Blackmoor Vale. That is who we are. That is why we're here. This place matters. This place is different. So to bring an end to this, in honor of Clarice Galloway, last of the Kestrel's children, often my enemy, but equally often one I understood. We remind ourselves of who we are, for in the wake left by one who is gone, we remain. And from her death, new beginnings spring, and we must know ourselves better in that new change, to learn of ourselves. So I speak to you all, as werewolves in Dorset, what this means, what the land means, who we are. And I say this. This story is true. Came to be in the days of them wars that followed the death of the old one, the oldest one, when the Wolf Queens, and she said nodding to the Pure, led their armies, and the Lowborn gathered to their lines, and she nods to the Forsaken, she says that. We all warred those early days of pain and loss. Can people please give me intelligence plus occult rolls?
Ooh, I can do this.
That's 5 dice for me.
Hey, I've got dice. Yay.
I do. 4 dice.
Stormbringer with the pulling a success out of his ass. Got one.
4 successes from me.
Nice.
I will powered it with 0 successes.
Okay. The 4 successes from Thornbreaker then, because obviously, it's partly your job as Arcahalith to know shit. While your time coming over to the UK and then being shuffled around before you end up where you are now was quite chaotic, one of the things you picked up quite early on was that werewolves in different areas have quite different takes on myths. And even within America, within the US, it's different in locations. And one that is not, again, it's not uniform across the UK. Not all the werewolves seem to think this. Don't repeat this, and not all the ones who do necessarily believe it. There is a take. One of the takes in the UK seems to involve a change in the view of the firstborn, and who they talk about wolf queens and highborn and lowborn. And this story appears to be a widespread belief on the Isles that. Essentially, Father Wolf headed a court of entities, and his wives were the wolf queens, from whom the pure spiritually descend, and the Forsaken come from the lowborn, or the non-noble of that time, the if you like, the regular Joe werewolves, who became the Forsaken, and this is quite strongly believed. It's quite strongly formative for some of the Forsaken and Pure in the UK. You haven't had much dealing with both sides at the same time, so you haven't heard them calling each other things like highborn and lowborn and stuff. But Prayer of Castigation is obviously very strongly referring to a story relating to that. But it appears to be, well, we'll see where it goes. Because you got 4 successes, I'm going to stop every soft. I'm telling you, I'm going to tell you, point a couple of things out to you as she goes through of nature in this story. Obviously, by comparison, the US one is the one of, if you like, the standard. Most of the US be the standard myth of how things went down during and after Father Wolf's death. The battles raged fierce. Proud highborn warriors, stubborn lowborn. We fought one another. We bled. We died. Innumerable of us. For in the ancient wolf, we'd grown fat on the paradise in which we dwelt. And now, in its ruin, we sought to squander our rage and our riches in blood. We weren't the only ones. The humans, too, warred with each other across this land. Chieftains, lines, boundaries carved in blood and dead. It came to be that after a great battle here, in which thousands lay in heaps of dead, both our own and the humans, and many humans we had killed ourselves, either servants of highborn or low, or simply when the rage took us and we took to killing blindly. The survivors from this battle limped away, spent in their rage, no anger left for each other, drowned in the sheer amount of death they'd caused. Spirits quenched, no desire for anything but to lick their wounds and rest. And they came upon Danu-Ur, the creator. Danu-Ur laired here. She contemplated, it is said, the nature of the world, whether she existed or not, and how she could heal the damage that was being done around her. She did not take part in the wars. She kept away from the queens and the nobles and the upstarts. She did not pin her banner to either side. The survivors came to her and they said, Danu-Ur, give us solace. We are wounded, we are hurt, we are dying. And each side said of the other, but do not help them, they are your enemy. Danu-Ur heard all this, and she said thus, you've wounded yourselves and this place. I shall end the war here. And she licked up the earth and all the corpses. And she points in a direction which doesn't mean very much inside, but she clearly thinks something in a particular direction out to the northwest. And there she made what is now Duncliffe Hill from the dead. and her tongue that licked up the ground tore away what was left of the wounded soil above, to reveal the flesh beneath, the rich black blood of the land. And she raised what she tore away up into the hills, into the downs, and into the downs to the south. Cranbourne Chase there. This land is her marking, her tongue gouging away, to take away the pain of war and give our forebears their own new home. And she divided that land, and she said to the werewolves, said to the Iratha, you may dwell here, but you may not war. You should not war. It's your deaths that have made this place. From it comes life, and indeed, as she said, from the ruined flesh of the earth she torn away came life. Animals, plants, vegetation, the carnage of the battlefield became life anew. And she said, do not despoil it again. And she took the humans, and she said to the warriors, I give to you the hills. And she made the hills into forts, as there was then, made them into their old battle land. And she said to the others, and the lowlands I give to you to live. She split the humans between them. And having created this, Danuer understood why she'd been where she was. And she crept in under Duncliffe Hill and said to the survivors who entreated her for more aid and protection. She said, I must go now, and you must stay. But don't forget how this place came to be. And that were that. No one's seen Danuer since. Few believe she even exists. Is a mythical firstborn, the creator. Sometimes believed to be sister of Fenris, of the Destroyer, a counterpart, an equal balance to him. Sometimes believed to have been what became Rabid Wolf. And some far-touched and bloodhounds believe that the two, Rabid Wolf and Fenris, are sisters. But everything ascribed to Danu, there's very little. I mean, you probably have never really encountered, in the stories you've heard, Danu directly referenced in this story. You've heard mentioned scraps, people saying, oh, there are scraps of lore suggesting that this is that, but you've never heard a story about Danu. And the werewolves who lived there since, who have become part of this land, are bound to it. That's why we're still here. That's why this place is what it is. We're here because of history. And now Clarice is a part of that history. She nods and steps back. There is muttering. It's not like an anger. There's like a slight ripple of muttering through the crowd. Of some of it is referencing what the elder just said, but a lot of it is. It's been a release. When she finished that, for the other wolves, like a release, a little bit of tension leaves. Like that was the end of what they were expecting. That was the end of the ceremony, if you like. Like there is permission to no longer have to stand on ceremony quite so much. It's a slight loosening of postures and things.
Thornbreaker takes a few quiet steps forward and turns to prayer castigation and nods respectfully and says, "Thank you for those words." He then turns and looks around the room at the rest of them. Of course, we are not here only to honor the old wolf, though that is certainly the most important thing we've done this night. We understand you've also come here to make heads to tails of the Americans who have moved into your home. Let's address the elephant in the room. We have history where we come from too. Some of it.
Really quick, Chris, while he's doing that, I'm actually going to activate Killer Instinct and Primal Strike.
Okay. Yep, not Killer.
Neither one have an outward sign, so I'm just going to get those out of the way now.
Mm-hmm.
And they last the scene, so I'm good.
Some of it in the not-so-distant past. I am sure one of the words on your tongues in the last 2 weeks has been about the Brethren War, which we fought not long ago on our own home soil, where the Anshega and the Erdaga inflicted innumerable losses on one another. There is certainly no love lost between us. However, we have not come here to start our own Brethren War. We have come here for a fresh start. Having said that, the past teaches us lessons. The Brethren War was born of a quiet that festered for too long between our people. We are born of rage, and rage calls for blood, and when that blood is denied for too long, what results is an eruption of spirit and flesh and blood and death. We have our own ways that we can marry with yours. We wish to respect your traditions, but perhaps to bring some of our own. He looks at Saf when he says this, with a knowing glance regarding their message to us regarding Americans trying to bring their ways in. And he gives the slightest crack of a smile. Having said that, I'm sure you've all noticed the palpable tension between our Alpha, Stormbreaker, and Jonathan Dunstan. I would see that hatchet...
Jonathan crosses his arms, you know.
I would see that hatchet buried in good faith. With the permission, of course, of the Alphas. He stops and he looks first at Stormbreaker, and then at Saf. I would see them fight. Not to the death, but let them bleed their rage upon this ground, and with it, let them bury whatever lies between them, that we can move forward. Also, he turns and he looks at, what's her name? One Hand Ash. And he says, and he points to the fire with the pig head and he says, "That claimed. Did you kill it on our territory?"
She frowns, as in she wasn't expecting what you're saying. No.
Oh, good.
But it refused the claim of the one who held this territory before.
It has refused the claims of many, but it particularly snubbed Clarice.
He nods. We pay our dues. You have done us a service in this way, and we owe you a similar service. You may call upon it when you wish.
She nods warily. You see, line break. So, prayer is like seems reasonable expression. Line breaker. Anyone? You're not probably looking at line breaker. The other two could probably see his face. His face is stony in that kind of cracking, trying not to look outraged kind of way. But there are some slight twitchings going on at this. Oh, Keith, I think you're muted.
Yeah.
Jack is too busy glaring daggers through Dunstan to notice anything at this point. You could drive a bus in front of him and he wouldn't notice.
Yeah, the Fairfax Dogs elder is seems reasonable, but Johnny, you will see that Linebreaker is there, looking.
Would you like me
trying not to show it?
Would you like me to make a roll?
Yeah, give me wits plus empathy.
Wits plus empathy. Okay.
And the erection, obviously, you're seeing from One Hand Ash is very warily okay. She wasn't expecting this, so she's going, okay. She's a bit wrong-footed.
And he was worried about me insulting people.
That's one success.
Okay, yeah, you can see out the corner of your eyes, when you've said that, Linebreaker clearly doesn't fucking like the fire touched very much. While there have been certain messages of don't get into fights and fuck things up today, it is obviously also evident that there is not much love lost between the two lines. There are obviously, and they've talked about skirmishes and fights. There's obviously conflict, and there is a lot of antagonism between the Spear Wardens and the Galley Crows for some reason between the Fire Tiger Patch. What the history is there, you don't know, but they are not even slightly on friendly terms. If Linebreaker was the kind of hot-headed type like Stormbringer, it might be much more like what you got with Dunstan, but Linebreaker is, sort of very much, I am in control of myself. Whereas Weeping Blood is just like, fight, fight, fight. And
Yeah.
Hey, in all fairness, Stormbringer has not been hot-headed about it. He's been very calculated.
Yes.
Yes.
So Thornbreaker turns back towards Saf and says, "What say you, Elder?"
Your packmate, she says, gesturing at Stormbringer, wishes to challenge Jonathan to a fight. She doesn't look at all upset. She's like, looks amused, if anything.
He nods.
1-on-1. Way to
Agreed.
vent your rage. She looks speculatively at Jonathan, who is scowling, arms crossed. Well, I have no. I have no objection, Jonathan. Do you accept this dagger's challenge? She looks at him, and it's quite hard to read your expression. Stormbringer hasn't actually said anything yet, has he? Though, so
No, not yet. He has not said a word yet.
although, while I admire the eloquence of your pack spokeswoman there, let's hear the challenge, young man. She gestures to Stormbringer. From your own mouth. Looking with an unpleasant smile on her face. She is.
No, that's me out of character. I'm going through a severe anxiety attack right now.
Oh, okay. I'm sorry.
Because I've built up to this so much that it just occurred to me that I may lose. And that has just hit me just for the viewers' sake. That has just hit me like a ton of bricks in the last 16 seconds.
Mm-hmm.
So just give me a second to compose myself here. All right. So Stormbringer is going to. I forget. Are we all more or less in Dalu?
Yes, except for Yanis, who's still just
Right.
a guy.
Right.
Still just the
Yeah,
guy.
if it wasn't for the fact that you can smell him and everyone's going, he's a werewolf, he'd be like, some guy's just walked into the thing. Which, he looks very confused by most of this.
All right. So Jack is going to Stormbringer is going to very calmly step over to the table of refreshments,
Mhm.
and take the biggest mug that we have, and fill it with the very good cider that we have to drain.
Mhm.
Are you giving yourself a handicap?
No,
Give yourself some courage.
we can't. No, we can't be. We don't get drunk. We're werewolves. We don't drink.
It's hard to get.
It's extremely difficult.
Yeah.
One very large cider is not going to do the trick. Right. So he's going to very calmly walk over to the table, pick up this very large cider, and drain it, more or less in one shot. The reason I'm doing it is it was something that we used to do as when I played rugby as a forward. You used to drain that first beer right before the match as kind of this. It was like, you know what? I'm so not afraid of you. I'm going to get drunk before I come out and kick your ass.
Yep.
Because I don't need it. Again, it's more about the mind games. He's just very calm about it. He's going to very calmly drain the whole thing, put it down, and then he's going to pull his shirt off and turn to Jonathan, getting ready for combat. And he's going to walk up to him and kind of stand in the middle of the room and kind of give one of those everybody step back things. Clearing out the circle.
There is some space. They're not.
You cut
this
out,
is
Chris.
Still, they aren't completely backing away yet because they're expecting to hear what the challenge is before the formality of it. But there is some backing up to give you some space.
The challenge is going to be very loud. Everybody's going to hear the challenge.
Okay.
There is no quietness about the way he's doing this.
Okay.
And I really kind of wish I had some gift to allow me to make my voice boom. I don't have it, unfortunately. I got to figure out if that exists. Anyway. All right, so I'm going to start out. Did we officially name ourselves yet?
The oncoming storm. I thought that's what we. I
we haven't claimed it in this.
No.
No, no.
Okay.
Right.
All right. Well, you're welcome, boys. We're gonna claim it now in the eyes of the wolves. If everyone is in agreement that we are the oncoming storm. Johnny, Thornbreaker, yes. Getting
Yep.
nods from both.
There.
Okay. When we first arrived in this land, albeit for different reasons, we were drawn together. From the first day of meeting the fellow, I know it's Anshiga and Urdaga. Is there one word for all of us, like as a
Uratha.
collective?
We-
Uratha. Okay, I wasn't sure if Uratha was the collective. Was the
the
collective
people.
term?
Well,
Okay.
Imru. Imru is the people, right? Uratha
Inru.
is werewolves. Imru is the people.
Oh, there we
So
go.
Inru would be just us. Uratha would be all of us.
No, Imru.
No.
Uratha is like it's a term that means like werewolf, whereas Imru is like more of like an anthropological,
Okay, thank you.
like we are the people.
I just want to make sure I'm using the right terminology here.
Yeah.
Either one.
Our first experience with the Inru of this land was mixed. Our fellow Urdaga welcomed us with tentative but open arms to see what the new upstarts from across the pond would bring. The Anshiga, however, with one in particular, showed us nothing but disrespect from the moment we stepped foot on this soil. I will not stand for it. We, the oncoming storm, will not be cowed in our own lands. Jonathan Dunstan, you have attempted to do this on many occasions. I challenge you now, if you feel you are better than us, to step in and prove it.
Can I bring the standard out for Stormbringer to put down?
Please, I was kind of hoping you would.
And
I wanted you to walk up behind him and slam it to the ground and be like,
Not
"Bam!"
even that. I'm actually going to do the Araka thing where I'm in the one corner of the room and suddenly I appear next to you and I just slam it down.
The visually manifests, not physically manifests. Or Uncle Graven manifests atop the standard slammed in the ground. Look at it. There is quite a bit of muttering. The people notice it's on the appearance of it. There is a little bit of muttering, obviously, because most of them don't know who your totem is or was, or otherwise didn't have information. So they've seen it, and across the other side of the circle, Jonathan takes the jacket off, undoes the tie, cuffs, looks you measuredly for a moment. You think he's probably trying to figure out some sort of put down to throw back at you, something eloquent, because you gave him quite a good speech, and then just says, "I won't honour you with further words. Let's do this." And we're gonna take a bio break now.
Yes! I was hoping we would bio right at this moment.
And we'll be back for the throwdown.
Oh,
right?
because Chris has to send my anxiety into full hyperdrive before we get down.
I really need the loo,
No, it's fine. It's fine.
All right, folks, we'll be back in 5 minutes.
All right.
See you soon.
Hey guys. How you guys doing in chat right now? Very excited to actually see this come to blows. I think this will be a good capstone for the first story. It's going well. Shara, how are you doing today? We spent the early part of the session going through honoring the old wolf. I threw some shade towards the pure, and now Stormbreaker and Jonathan Dunstan are finally going to go mano a mano, which is exciting.
So, I don't know if I presume the people in the channel can still hear us. I assume we are still broadcasting. I don't know if anyone has got anything to say. I can't see the chat. I haven't got the Twitch thing open, so I don't know if anyone has anything to say. I'm just going to say I am
Proper
this
job.
is of course reflected. Proper job. It's a Cornish drink, so not quite from it's Cornish beer, not quite from Ireland. I did have some Dorset beer earlier, but I feel like I need a cold beer just to see me through this scene.
Oh man.
So is there anyone in the chat channel at all? Do we know? Is it time to take bets on who's going to win this fight?
Seriously.
Morven Mad has a question for us.
Yeah?
Go for it, Morven.
I wish we could do gifts because I really want to do the one from, like, go ahead, we're waiting.
Yeah,
I think it's from whatchamacallit, Caddyshack.
I'm quite happy that this story arc is coming towards the end of it. Is of the highlight is the fight with the guy who you first met essentially in all this. It's quite a nice kind of bit of continuity closing it off there. So I'm looking forward to seeing how this goes.
Morven asks, is the orchard thing a mechanic in the system, or is that a scenery thing?
What do you mean by the orchard thing? There's various orchard things going on.
I think he means one we're trying to establish, maybe.
What's up?
Oh, we're just talking to some chat in the channel.
Gotcha. Okay.
We'll see if he clarifies it. But so there's several things. Orchards. The orchards. There is a mechanical element, for instance, setting up your own orchard, and that it is resonant to certain types of spirits who care about it. For instance, the Colopexy. The Colopexy is an orchard spirit, which means it can draw essence or it can draw spiritual power with an actual mechanical effect from an orchard. And it may have restrictions on its behavior related to orchards, for example. The cider from the orchards being poured out as part of the ceremony isn't mechanical, strictly speaking, but what you do has symbolic effect. The shadow cares about this kind of thing. So traditions and stuff in an area tend to shape and be shaped by the shadow and the spirit. So there isn't a direct mechanical effect of we have this item and pour it out. But if you, for instance, didn't do it, or if you did it specifically, if you pissed on, as it were, pissed on the tradition, not necessarily literally, or you might do it, then that might have an impact on how spirits deal with you, because they go, you do not know the way things are done, or you did not do what you are supposed to do. And spirits care an awful lot about what you are supposed to do and how you are supposed to act, because they're quite monomaniacally focused. So nothing involving orchards has been that the person have been had like crazy mechanical, and there can be effects that hook off it as well. If you have something specific we were going at that I didn't just cover, obviously let me know.
Yeah, I think he's just talking about the importance of cider.
Right.
It's more of a story thing based on the local traditions.
Yes, although that said, it does tie into some mechanical stuff, like the fact that the Predator Kings had a head of trees, which was an apple tree, which they were using to make stuff. The symbolism can turn into mechanics, as it were, in certain the way certain things work. But yeah, it's not like there's not a. You could have a rite that says you must perform this on an orchard that has been sanctified by in certain ways, and you have to do these things as part of the performance. And in fact, the local packs probably have some stuff like that, but they'll be they'll be sort of local things generally. The reason for the orchard stuff is it's a local thing. Cider and orchards are a part of culture and tradition in the southwest. There are several across the region. Major sort of cider creating orchards, and you get a lot of old orchards as well. These days, a lot of old orchards, you'll pass by some disused land and you can see amongst all the overgrowth, you can see where the trees are sort of lined up in the orchardry and things, but people aren't tending them anymore because a lot of that stuff's now being agglomerated into big farming conglomerates and stuff like that. Smaller orchards fall more out of use, although some are still maintained. So, if everyone's back and ready, well, I see Keith has mouth full, so probably not the best time to start to kick
No,
things
it's fine.
off.
We can start.
So, with the challenge, you've the challenge, Jonathan has accepted. People are moving, so because you don't really want to be fighting around a fire specifically to get in the way, and it's got a bunch of burning trophies in it, do you really want that to get knocked everywhere? So everyone's moved down to one end of the barn, and is backing away to the walls to give a big clear space.
So I'm gonna stop you before when people start to back up. Stormbringer's going to walk over to the barn door, throw it wide open, and step out into the storm.
Okay.
First of all, I promised Johnny I wouldn't break the barn. And second of all, we're the oncoming storm. I'm Stormbringer. I laid the challenge. If you're brave enough to come fight me in the raging storm, then you're gonna step up. Especially because I know that Dunstan doesn't like getting wet.
Well, he doesn't like getting your storms on him specifically.
Right, and that's why I'm doing it.
So, when you do that, you step out, he scowls and follows you out. The rest of the werewolves therefore gather at the door at the entrance. Some stay inside, various mostly nursing drinks of things, muttering to one another, talking quietly. Some with and some step out into the rain against the building. So some of them are going slightly out of the storm, but they also don't want to go far enough.
For those inside, Thornbreaker goes around filling up people's glasses, being genuinely jovial, just yeah, this is a good time. We're all here for a good little
this interesting little boxing match.
As you do that, some interesting interactions as you go. You pass Weeping Blood, is literally they're going fight, fight, fight. Mercy for Flames, the fire-touched warrior, is looking quite not nervous, but quite ratcheted up, and is watching this with she's quite tense,
apprehensive.
Not apprehensive so much as keyed up.
Sure.
There's a fight going on, she's not in it, but she feels like she should be involved.
She feels left out.
The dead thing next, when you come round and refill glasses, the dead thing looks at you. It gives you a very amiable smile, man.
Oh no, you cut out. Oh no!
He says, "Thank you very much, young man." Says the dead thing. The drinks on this offer have been very good. At least I appreciate the spread you have put out for us tonight. What? I'm afraid I haven't caught any of your names, though, apart from the young Galloway.
My name is Thornbreaker, and that is Stormbringer. Happy to have you here. He
What
refills
what
his glass.
thorns did you break?
The old tree.
Yes, that would make sense. Takes a drink from his ass, keeps smiling. There's something really unnerving about being around him that you can't place because there's nothing that should be unnerving you about him. He doesn't have sort of the primal presence of prayer or Sun Chosen. It's just
You cut out a lot.
Hello, can you hear me?
Yes, you're back.
Yes.
All right.
Yes. Yeah, there's nothing apparent about him.
just his presence scratches slightly at your mind, you know.
Sure. He's the one who should
Not
not be. Yeah, I get it.
Yeah. He did not genteelly. So-
Johnny's just got like one shoulder leaned up against the barn door.
Yeah.
Arms crossed, waiting.
Clear Stream is again. She's slightly out. Clear Stream steps out into the rain as well. And the rain, she doesn't seem particularly fussed by it. The elders are staying inside. Most people are staying, but if you're out, Weeping Blood has sidled up to Johnny and gone. So, do you think he's going to kick his ass, or who's going to get shanked? You see the two figures sort of stepping out into the rain.
Well, somebody's gonna get bit. It's not Stormbringer's MO to shank somebody.
Oh, you know what I mean.
Nah.
Come on. He's going to rip his arm off and beat him to death. Not to death with it, obviously not that. But he's going to rip off his arm and beat him up with it, maybe.
Hope so.
My money's
Or
on.
fight to the death.
Right. When I get over to them to fill up their glasses, I say my money's on Stormbringer.
Well, I don't know. You know, is your boy going to get like drowned out in the mud? Who knows? Look at this storm coming down, eh?
I whispered to Weeping Blood. Who do you think set this up?
Yeah, but look at his footwork. It's not the best in this mud, is it? Is your boy
Chris?
getting off more than he can chew?
Again, who do you think brought this?
Well, I'm just saying, is he bitten off more than he can chew?
OG, I think Stormbringer's got the gift that lets him to not ignore storm penalties.
Do you have the thingy now? Hunt Under Iron Skies now?
I do not yet. I wanted to get
Okay.
it before this, and you told me I couldn't.
Okay.
Wait,
I don't
isn't it a weather gift? And
No, I told you
just-
you couldn't get the dominance gift, but if it's a facet you want from a gift you've already unlocked, you can just unlock it with the 2 XP.
Oh,
At this moment, he
I
unlocked.
must have misunderstood that, and I apologize. So, Chris, I'm going to leave it up to you.
You
At
can
this-
you can literally do it now. Like
At this moment,
Yes.
he unlocked Hunt Under
I was
Iron
like, I'm gonna
Skies.
wait. He's gonna look like he's slogging in the mud,
Yep.
and then I'm going to unlock it and immediately turn with completely sure footing.
Yeah, you've stepped out here into the rain, and you know
Like
it's
he's
yours.
he's been
But
right. He's been experiencing the storms now,
Yeah.
especially with two exceptionally successful storms.
And at that moment,
It's almost like it awakens in him.
Yeah.
And at that moment, I
it
turned to
feels
Weeping.
right. Okay.
At that moment, I turned to Weeping Blood. Told you so.
1 second. I just need to block the door before the baby tries to rampage in. I'll be right back. Sorry, she's been trying to get in. And
No, that's fine, Chris.
So spend 2 XP. You now have Hunt Under Iron Skies. I mean, among other effects, you are unaffected by your own weather gifts effects now, so you are not suffering the speed or initiative penalty from the storm. So yeah, you and she's watching and she looks and goes, interesting. as his portrait like physically changes from struggling slightly like everyone else to sudden complete natural, it is entirely natural and right that he is out there and he just has that balance and that posture perfectly. There's no cost to this, it's just a permanent effect on you. You can apply it to your packmates for a cost of essence, but that's not really relevant right now.
Right.
The core effect is just bang in. You're immune to your own ones and you reducing the penalties from stuff that isn't your own as well. So he's
Right.
taught,
So he
looks
was
much
taking
more-
a penalty. I'm just double checking because it was an exceptional success on this. He's
Yeah.
taking a.
It's a penalty on a lot of things.
Speed and initiative equal to my glory, which is 1.
Yep.
Not that great yet, but I'm getting there.
Yep.
One day at a time. I may up that at the end of this. Because this is, if I kick his ass, that's just going to be glorious.
Thornbreaker's going to settle in next to Linebreaker.
Let us bond over
And
our
then
shared
he's also
technology
taking
names.
against speed initiative. I don't have the other 2 activated. Oh, there's flooding and shit involved.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Fantastic.
If you keep on doing it enough, there's going to be all sorts. You are not in the flood.
Well, no, it's
there's not a
so
tilt
according
on the
to
screen bar or
this.
something.
Oh, it may cause. Alright, so it hasn't caused
Yeah.
it yet.
Oh, it's
Gotcha.
causing it in some places that the storm is hitting, but not
Right.
where you
Not
are.
Okay, and he's also taking a penalty to allies, contacts, retainers, staff, and status.
Yep.
Oh,
And
he
any
just
attempt to draw on those things is because people just can't respond as quickly because there's a storm,
right,
flooding, and winds. So,
right.
so you square off out there. You are dimly aware of the light spilling out of the barn, the occasional crack of lightning overhead, illuminating the scene. You can see well enough. You're a werewolf, but still, the stark illumination from the lightning throws everything into relief for the occasional moment. Out across the other side of the wet ground, Dunstan has prepared himself and is, in fact, let me just check my stats for him so I know what he's firing up.
Alright, so rolling initiative is just 1d10 plus your initiative, right?
Yes, that is correct, and I will roll for him shortly once I just check out his thingy. I've listed his various merits and gifts, but I've probably forgotten what one of them does.
Hey, Thornberg,
There's lots
real
of
quick, check
fiddly bits.
your private chat, your PM.
Sorry?
There we go.
Okay. Let me. So I'm trying to leaf through a PDF of through the Shunned by the Moon PDF because it's got some specific rules I need.
So Keith, you've got relentless assault, right? So you're just gonna.
Yep.
ruin
Oh,
the
it's 0
first
to 60. I'm fully using drop of a hat on this one, which I usually don't because I don't remember I have it, and this time
And
it is.
remember,
definitely
you have
gonna
Eye
be-
of the Tiger, so you can just relentless assault him.
Yep.
Right. He's now before we kick off, he's just going to do something.
Uh-oh.
Oh no, I don't like the sound of that.
Also,
Sorry, I've got a
also,
PDF that's struggling a bit.
also, just
leaf
as a
through it,
reminder, Dunstan is also exhausted.
Yes. I need to check on that first. Yes, he's got the exhausted. He had the exhausted tilt when he woke up. There's good odds.
Oh, shit.
It does. But yeah.
Oh,
In fact, one thing.
I'm nervous.
He looks like he's been very good, but he hasn't been behaving too much like he's exhausted. Like the tilt is still on them
Activated.
as hard as they should be. He is, and he is a werewolf. He has things like gifts in this case, but yeah. Let's have a quick look.
Dear viewership, if I could tell you just how bad my anxiety is right now.
It would be really amusing just to watch at some point, like, a Rahu get his arm ripped off, and the Rahu just picks up his own arm, uses his innate auspice ability to ignore the fact that he's missing an arm, to then beat the person with his own arm. Cut out. Yeah, I can't hear you.
I can't hear a word you're saying, Chris. And it was probably something really epic. But now it's just gonna be like, I gotta
Yes.
say it again.
Damn it.
It wasn't epic. It was actually me asking you for what your composure is.
Oh.
The roll he just made, but I am asking.
Composure is 3.
Okay,
Oh, you need me to roll it, or just what the
Oh,
dots
no,
are?
no. He has an effect kicked off that he needs to roll. I think more than your equal or more than your
Of
composure.
course he does.
And he rolled a lot of successes. I
Oh.
have tens exploding. So he looks at you, flexes like he does a thing where he cracks his neck and cracks his stretches his arms, and as he does so, you feel a horrible, slight popping, tingling in you when he does it, and he says, "Are you ready?"
Did that do anything to me, or did it just unnerve me?
You're not sure what just happened. It felt odd. It felt very odd.
Oh, fuck me. I have a feeling that anything I do to him is going to get reflected back on me. That's what I feel like it has happened. I was born ready.
Initiative, then. Let's have the initiative rolls.
How every fight starts. Roll for initiative.
Yep.
1d10 plus. I'm nervous. I am terribly nervous.
You're going to have to roll very badly not to beat his initiative.
Oh my god.
14 for the first turn. 11 for every turn after.
First every turn anyway. He
Okay.
rolled badly and then got the penalty from the storm as well. It was like, yeah, you'd have to roll very badly not to beat him.
No, it's, the reason I say is that because I can only use drop of the hat only is effective for the first round.
Okay, so
That gives me a +3.
and then there's that unseen, that sort of not quite communicated go moment from both of you, and you are first off the block. So you are going first.
So because my harmony is appropriate, and I've learned from other games that you never fight in Dalu form.
Garu.
Garu, you never
In Dalu. No, there's no Garu, but fighting in Dalu is also not exactly
Well, okay.
beneficial.
On it.
He's gonna take 3 steps in a sprint,
Mhm.
launch himself at Jonathan, and shift into Urshel mid-air.
Yep.
And clamp down on him while doing so.
Okay.
So what is his defense?
That is a question I think I put it together. I didn't actually give the calculation. It is currently 6.
Wow. And that is 7 successes off the bat.
Okay, bang, you got him. So
Plus, hold on. So it's 7 successes plus an additional 2. I'm sorry, is it 3?
2
for
from
the-
bite.
Well, no, I have living weapon bite, and I forget what the
Oh,
fourth
you
dot
ignore
in that
armor,
does.
I think, with that.
Chris, you're cutting out. There you go.
Did you
have-
did you remove his defense from your dice pool before you rolled?
Yes, I took out the 6. I have 16 d10, took out the 6, and then threw a willpower, so I rolled 13.
Jesus fucking Christ. Okay.
Because I wanted the initial hit to be big, so that's what I
I
did.
just wasn't quite expecting it to be
An exceptional
that
off the
many
gate. Out the
dice.
gate.
no, there's
Yeah.
that many dice after a defense of 6.
I built Jack for Jack was built for war.
Yes.
Can you just run me
It's
through it
weird.
because you've got what's your current strength? I'm not
So
dazzled,
my
I was actually
strength
quite
is
curious.
no. So my strength is in Urshul is 6.
Yep.
Okay. I have 4 in brawl, so that brings
Yep.
me up to 10.
Yep.
I have a specialty in bite, which brings me up
Yep.
to 11. I
Mhm.
have primal strength, which brings me up an additional 2.
so
I'm gonna have to
13.
try and remember where all these came from. Is primal
And you're, aren't you all out fighting?
Yeah, all out attack.
Okay, so that goes to 15.
Am I off by?
Yeah.
Oh shit! Am I off by 1?
You might be.
No, but you
I might be
rolled
off by
13
1.
dice, and so you should be rolling 9 dice instead. By
Which
the
would have been make,
calculations.
and
Okay.
then he
I-
would willpower.
Whatever you think is fair. Do you want to pull the 1 off of a success?
Oh no! Didn't you
whatever,
say?
whatever you
Did,
feel is
wait! Didn't you willpower for 3, Keith?
I
Yeah, he
did.
He's
And so it
correct,
should have
he's
been
one
12.
off.
It
He's
should have
one
been
off.
12.
I'll-
Chris is correct.
I'll pull a success off.
Okay.
But only 1 off. Despite that is a huge dice pool.
Right.
Okay,
And then
so-
I get the 2. I'm just double checking what living weapon is at
Do you
2
have the
dot.
3 or
I have the 4 dot. But what is the 3? 2 levels of
four
armor
dots,
piercing,
you
with
increase
4
the damage
increasing
by
the patch by
one.
1.
Okay.
Got
So-
that.
and then
that
the
one
bite.
back.
So he dealt 9 damage,
9 damage.
9 lethal damage.
Yes.
And he
correct.
ignores
Out of the
armor.
gate. And I ignore armor if he has any.
Is it regular armor or magic? Because you have the magical armor ignoring one.
That's 5 dots. It ignores
okay,
none.
so
any-
5 dot is the any magic any
Yeah. So you rip in with horrific force, like tearing into the guy with your jaws. Are you going to apply a tilt to him?
Yeah, I'm gonna armor rack him.
Okay. The damage.
I'm not worried about him running.
The damage isn't quite as much as you'd expect, although it's still pretty savage. It's like his flesh is very tough. Now, a couple of things happen. Firstly, when you rip into him, so you're arm racking him, you said.
Yeah.
Okay. When you rip into him, you suffer 1 point lethal damage as the pain flares back into you, and you are also arm racked for 3 turns. As you rip into him and tear, and you feel the crunching shatter of the arm you tear into, and you feel that pain in your arm as well. So you take 1 point of lethal damage, and you are arm racked.
Okay, and arm rack is which again? I know it has to do with the attack.
Yes, it is. It's the penalty to using to things. So it's an attack penalty. With the arm, it is -2 penalty. No, sorry, that's causing it. It is a -3 penalty on all. No, that's okay. Currently, you just can't use that arm. If you go down the other arm, then you are at a -3 penalty on all physical actions and a chance die on anything that involves,
Okay,
manual dexterity.
I'm going to because
Rack might have been better.
What's that?
But I said leg rack might have been better, but
Why?
because you penalize his defense.
Yeah, but on the other hand, that would have bounced back as well. And you
Correct.
currently have his defense penalised, so there is
But
a
he's a Raku, so he can ignore it.
that you can ignore it for a couple of rounds. That's true.
Which should be enable me to ignore it long enough for it to go away.
So, are you going to ignore? Are you going to use your once per chapter ability to basically ignore the condition for 2 turns?
Yeah, might as well.
Okay,
I don't
so
think I'm gonna. Actually, no, I'm not, because if he leg racks me, I want to be able to
yep,
Ignore
that's
that.
reasonable.
Smart.
Yep. So
That's strategic.
the pain lashes out, and he is
Strategery.
staggering from that.
So
Obviously.
I can use a point of essence to heal off that lethal immediately.
Healing is at the beginning of your turn, I believe.
Beginning of my turn, I can use that.
Yeah.
I thought that was one reflexively when you got hit
Yeah.
initially.
Not when you're hit, no.
Gotcha. It's at the beginning of my turn. Okay.
Yeah, that's not innate one. Okay, so reeling from your hit, he also flicks into Urshel, as you'd expect, and lunges at you. I've got to choose. He's got a choice of a couple of things to fire off, and I'm just kind of. I know what one of them does. I'll check what the other one does. Quickly. That's not relevant at the moment. That'll be relevant in the long term if there is a long term. So he shifts down to Urshel. He lunges
Oh shit! I
at
forgot
you.
to tell you that I was initiating the grapple.
Oh, you're initiating grapple.
I wanted to. I didn't say it, so
Yep. Okay. Then. Yep. So he
I'll take
shifts.
that. That's a tough shit on me.
What is your defense?
My defense in Urshel is 5.
Right now.
And you have armor, right?
5, 9, 4.
Yes. From fortified form.
5, 6, 7.
Hold on. I need to look that one up real quick.
You have the 1 armor form. You have the 1 armor.
I have 1/1. Right, I have the 1/1 version.
Okay. He goes back at you with frightening force. The you expected from a hit like that for your opponent to be demoralized and stepping back. You probably haven't fought Ivory Claws before. Instead of the pain daunting him, the pain appears to have strengthened him as he comes back at you, real full force. So let's have a look.
The only thing I'm going to take away from this is if I lose, I lost to a much older, much more experienced werewolf. But I'm still going to end up giving him a run for his money.
He's not their combat dude. He's their sort of non-combat dude. So he's not tricked out for combat. But Ivory Claws have some nasty tricks. So,
Right.
He's hit you for a total of. For 6 lethal damage.
Okay.
So it's 5 because of my armor, right?
Yes. Now,
Okay.
in addition to that, he's kicked off a gift when he does it, which he needed to hit you to do.
Of course
Let's
we
have a
do.
look at that. Where is it? Right, can you give me Composure plus Primal Urge, please? Reasonably good at that. He's reasonably good at that.
Hold on one second. I'm just I'm putting in my my oh shit damage here. Give me a second. I just want to keep track of this. 'Cause this may go very poorly for me very quickly. What'd you say was Composure and Primal Urge?
That's right.
No successes.
Oh, shit.
Okay. So he slams back into you, and let's face it, right? Stormbringer is kind of like, without being, don't mean this as a criticism. Stormbringer's kind of arrogant. He's
Oh yeah,
he's
100%.
thrown down with this guy. He's come in and he's smacked this guy down with a full force 0 to 60 attack. He's like, I'm gonna fucking win this, and the guy's basically gone, ow, smack, and hit you back. Now he's badly injured, but this was not the response you expected, and it's just that sort of almost professional disdain of crunch as he slaps you down. Now, not from the roll, but he's leg racking you.
Okay.
So I presume you're going to use your Rahu thing to ignore that for 2 turns.
Yep.
After 2 turns, it will kick back in, but
It'll kick back in for 1 turn and then it heals off, right?
no, this is a normal tilt. This the first one is the one from you got from hurting him only lasts 3 turns because it's magic. It's you feeling the pain. This is he's just broken your leg.
Okay.
And it's broken. You're a Rahu. You just keep on going, but that it's going to catch up with you. Now, the
Gotcha.
specific thing he just did, however, so you've gone for him thinking, this is in the bag. I'm feeling a bit nervous, but I'm totally going to do this. Oh God, crunch, ow! I haven't, because let's face it, Stormbringer hasn't really been hurt like this since he turned up. None of this has really set him back. And the force of what he's just done has rapidly. He's used Lalo the Challenger on you.
Oh,
Hit you with Cowed. You have a -2 penalty on physical and social rolls to oppose him to inflict this condition if you do not spend willpower. So if you don't spend willpower, you are taking penalties. If you do, you don't take the penalties and you get the bonus as usual. But he's crunched, ripped, and cracked your leg, and blood of both of you is now sloshing onto the ground. He is. Let me note his. See, he's healing his wounds a bit from his natural regeneration, and it is your turn.
he's healing the wounds for a bit from natural regeneration.
On his turn, he's healing.
Spending the essence to heal 1 off.
Yeah.
Or however many essence he has to spend. if he so
That's
chooses.
a good point. Actually. Yes, some of his wounds are healing.
Okay. Well, I am going to do the same at the start of my turn.
Pretty good.
Because, well, if I don't, I'm going to be in trouble. Fingers crossed. All right, 3 successes on another bite.
Yep.
So that's a total of 6 damage.
Yep. Okay. That goes to
And I'm going to initiate the grapple this time.
Okay, so you grab him, you grapple him. Right. So now he doesn't act on his turn. Instead, we go straight to the grapple roll off.
Right.
So this is just strength plus. This is a strength plus ball roll. He is. You did damage. So again, when you hurt him, he seems juiced up on that. So I don't actually have enough dice to roll, do I?
Oh, fucking A. That's not a good sign. I don't have enough dice to roll.
Okay, so yeah, you're rolling your full pool of dice with no defense, because it's you rolling off against each other. Okay.
It's gonna be brutal.
That wasn't a great start. This part. Okay.
2.
You actually lost. Oh my god, I rolled quite badly.
It happens. It happens
Yeah.
from time to time.
Okay, so he, okay, he gets his teeth into you and his claws. He only does 3 points of lethal.
Okay.
Obviously, your armor will brought back down to 2. It's not. He can't get. He was in the
You
slippery.
cut
He
out.
just in the mud and the blood. He's suffering and slip. Brings cut out again. He
Yeah.
ended up. You ended up in an even worse position somehow. You think, It just didn't work out. However, he has also kicked off another gift.
Of course he has.
Can you give me a stamina plus primal urge roll?
Oh, for fuck's sake. For fuck's sake. One success.
Okay, unfortunately, it's not enough. He has hit
Yeah,
you
it never is.
with bleed. So, for the rest of the day, whenever at the end of any turn in which you suffer any amount of lethal or aggravated damage, you suffer
up
an
by 1.
additional point of damage by 1, and medicine rolls to treat your wounds suffer a penalty to his purity, but that's not very relevant. So you suffer 1 more point of lethal damage on the top of the damage you did. The armor doesn't. It's stacked on top of that, so the armor's already applied. If you know what I mean. So just 1 more point of lethal.
Okay.
Right. Well, that was turn 1 of the grapple. So both of you can heal lethal as before because you both get uses. He doesn't appear to be taking a lot of. His wounds are healing very rapidly, quite naturally. Almost not. I'm not saying unnaturally fast, but with unnatural ease. Yeah, it's time for another grapple roll. Ironically, the fact you didn't hurt him this time means his dice pool is now much lower. Hurt me, daddy.
Bring it on, bitch. 7.
Oh shit!
It's a draw.
No! Are you fucking kidding me?
Chain fucking tens. So, okay, so back away from this as they're struggling. These two massive wolves like struggling with each other and crying. No, they quite get it. Sarf is watching with amusement. Prayer is like scrutinizing. Weeping Blood is going, they're fucking kicking the shit out of each other. This is brilliant. I think now, like, his leg's gone, his arm's broken. It nudges, like, gives elbows Johnny. So, what's your boy going to do next? They've got each other. They're trying to get each other's throats, but they can't quite get it. Who's going to end up in the mud, eh? What's your bet?
I'm just gonna say try harder.
You're yelling that out to me?
Linebreaker.
You prick.
You barely hear it over the hammer of your own heartbeat, the roar of the wolf that's on you, and the thundering of the rain. Linebreaker, next to Thornbreaker, is watching this with a tactician sort of gaze. Sorry, yeah?
I actually don't know if Stormbringer's got any other tricks, so Johnny's little response is what he would do, would just try harder.
Stormbringer's trick right now is to fucking rip him apart. That's all I've got.
Linebreaker is like analyzing this and watching with concern. He says quietly to Thornbreaker, "I suspect your boy has it, but I hope this will be an important lesson for him."
That's why I wanted to set this up.
Okay.
Do we have to roll that strength again since it was...
It's another thingy, yeah.
Oh, for fuck's sake. 1.
Okay. It's including the extra damage from the gift, 5 lethal. Obviously, you apply your armor to that.
Right. So it's 4.
Yep. He is continuing to heal himself.
Yep, I'm going to do the same.
Remember, you've got your 8 again on this, yeah?
Yeah. Not on the uncontested strength roll, right?
Yeah.
It's full rolls.
Oh, shit. All right, hold on.
No, you've been figuring it. I see the line.
No, I'm not.
No, because you rolled a 9 that turned into a 10. You're fine.
It is.
No, I didn't.
Yeah, you did. Look at one of the times.
It's a different calculation. The one that
on the grapple rolls you have.
Right, I haven't been doing it on the grapple roll.
You nerd.
So hold on. Oh, motherfucker, because that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. That's 6 extra dice I should have rolled last time.
Okay, well this time you know. So let's have the next round of the grapple.
Nope, didn't help that one. All right.
Okay, so this time, let's have the roll.
Oh my god.
4.
Okay, he just beat you,
For fuck's sake.
so it's
Well,
4 lethal this time. Again, knock your armor off, and that is including the extra damage from the bleeding.
For fuck's sake.
You nerfed yourself.
He's trying
Seriously.
to force you down, and you know he's slowly winning. You get a slight expression, a sense of possible surprise on his part. He wasn't expecting it to go this well, but he's trying to force you down to pin you in a kind of. He's trying to hurt you enough that he will get you to submit rather than just trying to pin and lock you.
Right.
Down flat now. So. Okay, let's have a roll.
Okay. Come on, baby. Work with me here. 10.
Whoa!
Jesus.
Fuck
Okay,
you,
that is an
Dunstan.
exceptional success. So you can pick 2 moves. Are
So-
you going to damage?
So, oh, hell yes.
Okay. Let me
That's
just count.
100%. So,
Seven.
in the because it's an exceptional success,
Yep.
there is going to be a primal howl of rage involved with whatever it is that I rip out of him. Preferably, I want to rip one of his legs off.
No, it's not. He rolls quite well as well. So, but the damage you do is still significant. Ripping deep. It's more just raking down him with the things. You're not able to get a bit off him. This guy is, as you know, as to be fair, some of you are supernaturally held together levels of resilience.
Right.
But the general damage you do is just like that catastrophic level of mass damage.
Okay.
Are you going to take a second move on the list?
So what is it? What is the second move on? What is the? Where's the list? I don't know what the list is. I'm sorry.
Okay, so there's things
I've
like,
never done this well before.
Let's have a gander. So the obvious one is
If
going
you
to be
have a
trying
question,
to.
I'll take a look.
The obvious one is going to be trying to get hold on him. There's a particular phrase, how you start setting up a pin, although it's unlikely to be very relevant since he's likely to submit after this anyway due to the sheer amount of damage he just did. Let's have a gander. Sorry. Where's it gone? Where are you, grappling rules? Here we go. Hold. So basically, hold means... Hold is the first step towards restraining him, trying to get a pin. So
Okay.
it's the case of both of you drop your defense against incoming attacks as you hold each other in place, or you hold him in place rather. But it's the step towards then pinning him. So you can either do
All right,
damage and
what's
hold
the-
him,
the
or
page
hold and
number?
pin. Sorry,
What's the page number?
I just put it down. Sorry.
Oh, that's all right.
67 in the Werewolf Core.
So you've got 2 choices actually. One is do damage and hold, and the other is
Okay.
just hold and restrain.
Oh, I'm going to do damage and hold. There's no
Okay.
question about that.
You rip in, dig deep, tear in deep. You take another point of lethal damage from the pain connection.
That's fine. I can live with that.
And also remember things like your arm rack is unstuck again. So you are now his leg. The leg rack you applied to him is no longer applying to you, but your arm rack is back on you again. Although it's not relevant now because the fight is essentially over. You rip in.
No, it was the other way around. He leg racked me. I arm racked him.
No, yes, you're right. You are correct. That's the way around. You are leg racked. He's arm racked. You rip in deep, and the damage. You really tear through his supernaturally tough flesh, and he gives. Basically, he yields.
For effective purposes, can I choose where the bite landed for cinematic reasons?
Yes, with that many successes, sure.
Okay. So it's he's not going for the throat. Actually, no. Yeah, he's got him around the throat, and is kind of like lifting him off the ground by the throat, and that's the quote unquote hold.
Yeah.
So he yields.
Yep, he yields. How badly damaged is Stormbringer?
I am
I'm sure.
fucked up. I'm 1 away from being full up.
Okay, so right, so pretty okay. He is into ag, as you'd expect. That did ag damage in that final hit.
Fuck you.
But it is pretty evident to everyone else that fight didn't necessarily go quite as you expected it to go. However, the final win is very, is an undeniable.
It was very loud.
Yes, and no one can look at that and go, "Oh, you didn't win." A lot of
Okay,
people watching
so-
are probably going, "The young wolf thought he had it in the bag, and it turned out wasn't as simple as he thought, but he did win it quite definitively.
So, well, I'll be honest with you. I didn't think even Stormbringer, even though he wasn't playing like he thought it was a bad move, I knew I was going in against a experienced werewolf, and even experienced werewolves who aren't built for combat will still fuck your head. And I went into it knowing that.
Thornbreaker is grinning broadly, and turns to find Saf's gaze, and gives.
Saf is smirking like this is a fine day's entertainment.
Sure, and he
Chris,
gives.
What is the roll to Howl at the Storm?
Presence plus expression.
That I owe? I forget.
Yeah, presence plus expression.
Presence and expression?
He gives her a genuinely respectful nod.
She briefly acknowledges it, but she's more interested in looking at the two werewolves who are now presumably bloodily, after a big howl to the storm, are going to bloodily stagger back towards the.
Hold on. No, there's a little more to it.
Okay.
What part of his body are you removing?
No, I'm not. Okay, so it's kind of this. He's been building himself up to this, and is just going to revel in the pure glory of it for a minute.
Mm-hmm.
And it's again just to play the mind game. He's going to shift into Garu as he howls at the storm to honor the storm, and then drop immediately back into Dalu. It's basically like a shift right through.
Can you do that?
That's you can't. I don't think you can do a double shift like that. What I mean is that if you shift and then shift back, there will be a turn when you'll have to fight the Garu urge to mint stuff.
Okay, never mind. I just howled then. I forgot about the whole mint stuff, and with him already being down, I'm like, he's gonna lose control. Yeah. I'm gonna give in to the blood rage anyway.
So yeah, it gets presence plus expression.
Okay, 3 successes.
Okay, so you give a howl, and it is a solid, deep, throaty, powerful, a howl of victory. There is pain in it because your body is still trying to knit itself together frantically. It's your body's sending emergency messages. Boss, did you really think that was such? Did we have to be the sacrifices in the line of your vanity, boss? You've come out of it, But while there is pain underlying it, it is the pain of it is a hard-won victory. It's the payment you've made to win, but you have won. Dunstan shifts. Dunstan's flesh again is healing fast. You get the impression he isn't burning essence. He must have burned a lot of essence in that fight, and his flesh is still doing healing lethal, which you'd normally burn essence to do. And he once after like a short moment, once he's healed enough to shift from Urshel, he shifts up to Dalu and walks back in, blooded and messy, limping slightly from the leg. Although again, with the rate he's regenerating, that damage won't last very long. But with severe injuries still, despite from the aggravated damage inflicted, walks back into the barn without saying a word. Saf just gives him a small nod as he walks in. The other one of her pack, the one who's chained up, shifts slightly uncomfortably, looking at Dunstan come in. What's the body language there? It's not necessarily friendly, and also you think maybe the guy who's chained up kind of wants to get out there and
fight Stormbringer.
Yeah, but the elder places a hand on the chained shackled shoulder, in a very restraining kind of way.
So what's the difference between his healing and my healing? Considerably?
You have to yours you have to his is slightly faster, but yours you have to focus to heal. You have to put essence into heal, yeah? You have to it's almost like it's your natural healing. It looks unnatural when you do it, and there's a sense of whereas his it's just purely he is simply generating lethal naturally.
I'm going to spend the 2 essence, so it's 2 turns.
Yeah.
While she watches him go back in, what have you.
Yeah.
Once I drop the two lethal, so I can shift back into Dalu without. Actually, I'm sorry. I only have to drop. Oh no, I can shift now because I only have 1. I'm fine. So I'm going to shift. I'm going to shift.
You don't want to box your thing out because you'll have to make unconsciousness rolls.
I thought there was something that Rahus didn't have to do that.
No. If you feel your.
No, why did I think there was something I could do that? Okay, so I'm gonna. All right, so I'm gonna heal off the 1 and then shift.
Yep.
Hold on. Ow. Otherwise, my knee is gonna break in real life. Fuck. All right. Anyway, so I'm gonna shift off the one, heal off the one, and then shift back into Dalu. And then, Thornbreaker, I apologize for this. He's going to catch Saf's eye and wink at her.
She gives
And then
you
walk inside, and then he throws the wink and then walks directly inside to get another cider.
She catches that expression. Let's have a look. Is there anything she can to hand that she could do?
This is gonna hurt.
I'm trying to
It
think.
wasn't a I just bested your boy wink. It was, what do you think? You know, like, what do you think? Like, he's trying to impress her, and it's that almost like college kid, like, I just did something cool. What did you think of that?
She looks at you, and she just reaches her hand as Jonathan's walking past her. She just stops him with her arm.
Oh, shit.
And she holds her hand out in front, and then he
You
goes.
cut out.
She holds her. She stops him with her arm, her face hardening slightly. Holds out her hand in front of him, like cup in front of him, and he
Again.
You cut out again.
Damn it! Holds her hand out in front of him.
Oh, it's gone again! Son of a bitch! Always at the most inopportune times.
I've plugged it back in now. Hopefully it'll hold. She cups her hand in front of him, and he looks confused.
Dunstan is in his misery right now. He's like, I have just lost. It hurts. Even
Oh,
Again.
looks confused, and then he like, oh yeah, kind of expression, and he goes and like drools out blood from his mouth into her hand,
okay.
along with flecks of meat, your flesh and blood.
Oh, shit.
She sniffs it, licks it, gets a small bottle out of her pocket,
He's got my blood now. Fuck.
caps it, looks at you, and you get the impression that was. I mean, that. Let's face it, something like that was likely to happen, right? She's an ivory claw, you know. But because you winked her, she was like specifically right. Well, fuck you then.
I wasn't. It wasn't like a. It was.
But no,
It was kind of like. It was kind of like, hey, what do you think of me now? Like, you know.
Yeah, and that has her response is just slightly stony. For whatever
Okay.
reason, she thinks you've stepped above your place slightly with that little
Probably.
ending. But
Probably.
as you've come in,
But he's young. He doesn't know any better.
the dead thing says, "So, are we done?" I have a question for you guys out of character now. Do you want to play on a bit longer, or do you want to finish the session? I would say there's some stuff that can happen still that's not obviously pivotal as a thing. Well, there'll be an ending regardless, a short scene ending
Right.
to finish this off. But do you want to do some more stuff with the other werewolves before we wrap the story up, or do you want to sort of
A
finish
little
it up?
bit.
Okay.
Sure.
So
A little bit more, because there was something I wanted to do as I walked past them both.
yeah.
Into the
So I
bar.
was going to see if Prayer or one of the Bone Shadows might help me try to summon a Ralu Nim right now.
Okay, so there's a bit of chat. Dead Thing says, "So, are we done?" And there's a bit of mustering. And Prayer says, "Well, seems to me the old lady's been honoured, and these pups have had their worked out their energy with each other. So I'm not seeing there's much need for all of us to stay around here." And when she says that, there is like one Linebreaker holds up a hand, gestures at one hand, Ash. And there's a bit of like steps forward. There's some quiet conversation going. Linebreaker doesn't look happy. Prayer comes around to you, goes, "If it's all right with you boys, once the Pure have gone their way, there's probably a few things we want to talk over one way or another.
Sure.
You happy with us staying around a little bit?"
So,
We still have a shit ton of cider.
I nod to her that it's okay. I'm gonna walk. I walk directly to the refreshments table where I've got the deer laid out.
Yep.
And Jack is gonna grab the two biggest, or Stormberg is gonna grab the two biggest mugs, fill them, grab two hearty pieces of deer, and walk over to Dunstan, hand him a mug and a piece of meat.
He looks at you for a moment like of someone who is like not in their happy place. Registers it, has that moment of like. He doesn't shrug, but there is obviously an internal shrug that occurs, and he takes the meat and the drink.
When he takes it, Stormbringer is gonna say, Stormbringer is gonna look at him and go, "Well fought. hopefully this settles things.
Mm, yeah.
And he's gonna, raise it. Oh, you cut out, Chris.
I didn't say anything. Dunstan.
Oh, I saw your mouth moving. I thought you said something.
Dunstan was thinking of saying something, but nothing really came out.
He's gonna raise the mug to him and then drain it
He will
and eat the meat and move
grudgingly,
on.
but he does raise the mug and starts to
Look,
drink.
I'm trying to show I have honor.
Yeah, no,
We
I'm
fought. The hatchet's buried. We move on.
Yep.
We move forward with the tentative peace that was in this area. I've proven myself that we're worthy of keeping this in territory. We're good. As far as I'm concerned, the beef with Dunstan is over. I did what I set out to do.
While Dunstan starts to drink his drink, Sarf touches his shoulder gently and goes, "Be ready to move out, darling." Over the discussion between Ash and Linebreaker is like, you can hear. You're picking out. Well, you got great hearing as well. So
Wait. Can I make a perception roll?
yes, you
Do you want that from everybody or just?
Arlu, I think. Yeah, anyone who can. Anyone who wants to hear in on it. Parts of it are about to go loud anyway, but hearing the gist of it might give you some more intel.
Well, I'm kind of hoping for an exceptional success right now.
That's also good. Oh, by the way, I've also resolved the Sacred Hunt condition on everyone, so you've got a bunch of extra beats because you successfully finished the Hunt of Dunstan.
Yeah.
Yeah, buddy.
I got one
Doesn't mean
success.
You're no longer seeing the seething red brands on him that you were.
Johnny only rolled a success.
Okay, so just some normal successes, yeah?
I'm gonna roll mine.
Okay.
One success.
Yeah. Okay.
One success across the board.
The gist of it is they appear to be arguing over a place called Gillingham. Now, Gillingham is a town to the west of you. It's not out right on the edge of Blackmore Vale, but it's in the eastern area. Sorry, east side of the town of the Vale. And as far as you can tell, Linebreaker is basically telling the Fire Touched to back the fuck out of there, because now that it's not the Kestrel children that have no to reach anywhere near there, basically saying their old agreements need to hold. You need to back the fuck out of there. We know you're up to stuff there. Back the fuck out of there. And she is going,
I have no idea what you're talking about.
No, she's going, no, we're not gonna, well, we're not looking for a fight with you, but we have our own business there. It's no one's territory, and it's important. The gist of it from Linebreaker is he appears to believe that the Gallicrows are using it as a route out of the Vale to support their meeting or supplying some of the pure packs on Cranbourne Chase, on the mountains, the hills to the north and east, through there. And she said they're there to deal with it calls about Giller's people. The Giller's people they're an affront to our faith. They're an affront to the seer. They're an affront to this. We're there dealing with just because you aren't capable or aren't bothering to deal with it because of your high ambitions about ruling the land. Go fuck yourselves. We're not moving out of it. And Linebreaker basically says, "All right, I'm telling you, move out of there, or we will move you out of there." At this point, it's gotten quite heated, and at one hand, Ash she's generally really calm and chill when you've seen her. She's start to get quite angry, and she then reaches into one of her pockets, gets out a pouch, something, pours what looks like salt into her hand, and throws it into the fire. There is a frumph of the salt burning in it, and the green flame. And there are two reactions. The first is like everyone goes, like it's as you get the impression it's roughly the equivalent of a gauntlet off, slap face kind of thing. But in addition to, as if all the local elves seem to go, "Oh, wow, she's really pissed with him," and he physically winces when he physically flinches when she does it. And not in a way that is just, a tiny baby's trying. Kitty, can you get Mummy and stop the tiny baby from trying to get in? So a small creature trying to slip through. She's pushed the door open far enough, and she's trying to squeeze through. Oh, Molly, no. Sorry, howling baby.
It's all right.
I'm just gonna put the door closed so she can't get back in.
Excuse me.
She really wanted to get in and see what Daddy was doing. Poor creature. So his reaction is literally more like as if she had punched him, and not in a kind of, "Oh no, you have social move, I am scared." There is a very physical reaction from what she did, And he seethes. But as you're watching, you see his skin in places is just starting to blister from nothing. And there is a sort of, they both step back and stare at one another. And
So, Stormbringer is going to notice that this is going on. Obviously, we all are.
yeah, the form of green fire probably does it.
And in his, I don't want to say rage, but almost in his moment of pride, he's going to kind of step, not in between them, but off to the side. You know what I mean? Like, he's not walking directly in between them, but he's kind of going to address both of them at the same time. And flat out, if there's a dispute to be settled, and it is to be done in combat, the field has already been presented.
Ash is like just.
In other words, he's saying, if you guys want to fight, I've already shown you where we're doing this, and it's perfectly acceptable right now because that's the point of this meeting. If there are things that we want to settle, this is the time to do it, so that everybody's aware of what's going on.
Glaring at him, they've locked on each other's gaze. They don't look at you, although they acknowledge you're there, but they're keeping each other's eyes gazed locked. And Linebreaker sort of holds his hand up to you and goes, "Not for this, not now." There's a Ash nods, steps back, breaks his gaze, looks at the rest of the pack, and goes, turns to Johnny and goes, "Thank you for your hospitality." And she gestures, and the pack get ready to start to move out. Seeing they're going, the Ivory Claws also. Saf just gives like a friendly smile to Johnny. She's had a good evening, you know.
Safted?
I do one of Johnny's salutes.
As they're moving out, the only person who hovers is one of the Fire Touch. Just sort of holds back a moment. Let me find it's the Yanis, the only guy who looks like a normal human being in here. He's not really paying attention. He's been over by the deer, like not eating, just like looking at the entrails, not in a horrified way, but fascinated. And when he notices, like, the dead thing says, "Yanis," he looks, "Oh yeah, no, hi." Goes up to you know, whichever you guys know. He goes, "Lovely to meet you. What an evening it's been." He looks like he wants to say more, but I gotta go. He follows them out as they start to troop out into the storm and the rain. The Puritorite. You see again. He lingers out where the two Urshel, the two direwolves, are ripping each other. He's paused over the ground and is like looking at where the blood splashes in the rain, as if he's just like seen something that's absolutely transfixed him. And again, someone has to call. You don't catch who has to call him out there to get him to keep on going. And he trails off after others. And, you know, you hear the booting of engines kicking in as the Pure start to load up to move out.
If the opportunity presents itself, I don't know how people are walking out, whatnot. Hold on 1 second.
Yep.
Sorry, we're getting a call.
Okay, well, we'll...
Okay, sorry about that.
Good. Yep, no worries.
Side effect of being a firefighter. Sorry, guys.
Yep.
If the opportunity presents itself, and I don't know how, it's going to tone again. Sorry, hold on.
It's okay.
Oh, he's getting up.
He's on the move. Hopefully things aren't actually on fire.
Right.
While we wait.
We wait. Right, so,
The Forsaken aren't moving out yet.
the Forsaken aren't moving out. There
Oh,
is.
he's
Now
back.
it's back.
He's back.
All good?
Wait,
All good. I reset it, so it's not going to go
Okay.
off until we get another call, which we should have a little bit of time before.
Okay.
If the opportunity presents itself, if there's like one of those moments where like him and Saf kind of pass each other very closely, he's going to say to her very quietly, "I'm sure we'll be seeing each other again soon."
she smiles, and it's one of those moments where you get that very strong reminder that this is not a human being or even a slightly human being. It's a predator and it looks vaguely human. And that smile just says it all. She smiles and goes, "I'm sure we will," with genuine pleasure to her voice. Like,
I know.
God knows what distinct pleasure is going to be.
It's going to be terrible for me. I know that.
Is it going to be terrible? Is she just, and off she goes. The Forsaken don't go. As the Pure don't kick up fire up their vehicles and roll out. Linebreaker stands there watching them go from it and then relaxes once they're sort of off.
If what's his name? The Unconquered Raven's still around, I'm gonna let him roost on my shoulder if he.
Yes,
because I think
he does. He hops over, and he says to Stormbringer, "Because your victory was well won and well proclaimed.
Yes,
I thank you for your victory."
Stormbringer just smiles. I got nothing to say.
Well, says Prayer, ain't no one going to argue that this is yours for now, at least. Don't need to worry too much about the Pure just coming and rolling over you because they think you're too much of a pushover, certainly. They don't like you. Well, they're Pure. What can you do, eh? She nudges Linebreaker in a kind of ha-ha kind of way and like is clearly amused by the fact that he is remaining deadly serious and is like not happy at all. Ah, well. Good evening all round. Still got a bit of this cider to get through. So, before we go our separate ways, I guess it's time for us to just, chew the fat and all that.
Certainly. Jack's going to walk over to one of the chairs and kind of flop down a little exhausted.
Thornbreaker, waiting until eyes are sort of off Jack, walks over and hands him another full mug. And he looks down at one of his obvious wounds and he sticks his finger in a little bit and basically opens up the wound a little more. And he says, I think that's going to scar nicely.
When you do, it immediately starts to ooze far too much blood than it should.
Right.
The bleed effect from
the
gift.
Did I take another lethal damage?
It's like poke spray.
Yeah.
Did I just take more lethal damage?
You did.
He didn't do enough to do a point of lethal, but if he had, he would have.
Okay.
There was a good old bit.
And then sort of tongue in cheek again. If no one's sort of listening in, he goes, "Let's hope the lessons stick too." And he raises the mug.
We'll see about that.
And he takes a drink and he walks away to leave him to heal up.
You catch the conversation. Linebreaker is saying quietly to Prayer, going, "You need to stop cooperating with the Galley Crows on the Broken March." And she shrugs and goes, "Well, there's a lot of ghosts that need dealing with in that area between us and them. I ain't going to refuse a helping hand if it means getting rid of ghosts. You know full well where some of the things from those plague pits are going." He shrugs. I've got to look after my territory, haven't I? You've got to see the bigger picture. She looks amused. "You don't talk to me about a bigger picture, young man." And Linebreaker is by no means a young man, So, anyway, not in front of young ones, And they sort of, he looks unhappy, but it seems like he's not settled with what's going on, but he's not going to push it further.
Where is this Gillingham?
Gillingham. Oh, that's a few miles out to your east. It's in the Vale. It's between here and so you got two towns between here and Gillingham. Two wardens are. The northern one of the two is Gillingham. The southern one's Sturminster Newton. Speaking of which, we can talk about Sturminster Newton. It's used to be a nice little town. Ain't too nice now, Ain't too nice now. But we got to talk about Sturminster Newton, haven't we? So it looks at Linebreaker, kind of nods. See, Sturminster's the old, I guess you say, capital of the Blackmoor Vale, right? It's generally been a neutral ground, right? And the cattle market there, well, there isn't a cattle market there anymore, but the cattle market there in its imprint, as was, is an important meeting ground for werewolves, an important a neutral ground for trade and that, right? But with your great aunt popping her clogs, and then you saying I said the Kestrel children are gone, right? The spirits think all the pacts and agreements with the Kestrel children are gone, which means the pacts and agreements around Sturminster's market have gone.
Oh shit.
Well, no, it's not your priority, right? It's kind of your fault, but it's not your priority. We're going to have to think about how we're going to get that all set back up to be a nice neutral ground where we can go and it be what it needs to be. For now, all right, Sturminster's no one's grasp, and don't try and fucking take it, all right? It won't play an ice into anyone's hands. As for Gillingham, he looks at Linebreaker. That's more your fucking problem, isn't it? He scouts the fire touch to using it. For contact through to the chase, then meet people there. The pacts we have to fight.
Does this Gillingham touch our territory?
It's not far from the border.
You see, we recently learned there's a divot in our territory where the old orchard was. It's been claimed by another pack. We are looking to expand our territory to compensate for...
You keep away from Gillingham. He get with pointed finger. You want to help us? That's fine. But keep clear of Gillingham.
It belongs to your pack?
Not yet.
Fine. If you want to take it, we are happy to provide any assistance you might need.
He nods at that. Glad to hear it. Well, that sounds like Gillingham's sorted then, eh? Try not to drown yourself in too much fucking bloodline breaker. Anyway, what else have we got to think about? Well, first off, congratulations, as I said. I don't think you lot are going to be in a lot of trouble for at least a while. The Pure won't come around and put you. I mean, they'll be back sooner or later to test your borders, you know? You know how it is. They'll find something to have an argument about with you. See if you're strong enough to hold what you got. But you probably bought yourself a good amount of time. You know, I won't be back anytime soon. So, you know, tend to your own. Deal with your, you know, your things, your turf, your territory. Make it yours as best you can. Now, just to say clear, Fairfax dogs ain't got no interest in anything that's directly under your territory, so we ain't going to be coming nibbling at your borders. Can't say as much for Spear Wardens, especially with their threats over Gillingham there. Eh, Linebreaker? Linebreaker, that seems. I'm content that you should be able to hold your territory and it isn't going to become a threat to us by being lost to the Pure. So, keep on showing that strength. Make it yours. Dig in. I don't want to have another front on our western border. Don't give us a reason to move in and we won't.
Of course.
Very friendly there, Linebreaker. Very friendly, you know.
I turned
I'm
to.
gonna look at Linebreaker. We're kind of deadpan, and without missing a beat, that goes both ways.
We're not afraid of you.
I didn't say you had to be.
Good.
Turn and I wink at Weeping Blood. No sacred place will be violated here.
Picking over.
I'm gonna end up getting into a fight with fucking Linebreaker at this rate.
She shall
Fuck
shrug.
it. Gauntlet fight with Stormbringer. Everybody bring it on.
Like I said, you've got to come up with something, you know. If you're going to be, if you're one of us, and you gotta. She stops again. As the senior hunter in darkness here, I think you need to come up with some kind of awesome urban legend or something, yeah, to guard your sacred places. That's your quest, young one. Yeah. Yeah? No? You got no respect for your elders, do you? She's
Is she really? You cut out.
Yes, she's probably not. She might be 20. You're not sure. She might be the other side. She might be
So
the
she's
younger
like a
side.
year older than him.
At most, probably younger. But she's probably she may have been a werewolf. We're not sure if she's been a werewolf longer. She's been a werewolf here for longer, and therefore is using that excuse to pretend that therefore he has to do what she says. Listen, barring any other Mini-Nut around here to tell you what to do and get you in order, you got. Yeah, cracks open a bottle with a claw, starts drinking it. Because you got to target it correctly, okay? If you get the wrong part of it's all marketing. It's all marketing, right? If you get the wrong part of the segment, then they don't think it's scary. They think it's awesome, and you get to okay. There's this guy, right, out in Cranbourne Chase, yeah, who there's 100 dinosaurs out there who came up with this ghost story about the headless woman of Sutton Crest, okay, and you know what happened? Fucking tourists. It became a big hit. Everyone wanted to come and see. So you got to make sure you scare the fuck out the kids and the youths who are going to go, the kinds to like climb into the places you don't want them to climb, right? Scare the fuck out of them, but you don't want to make it. You know what I mean, right? You know what I mean? Yeah.
Yeah, I know what you mean. You're fine.
It's Americans. You got all the horror films. It's all from America, right? You got to know how this works.
Yeah, I'll Camp Crystal Lake it.
Yeah. There you go, she says, as if she pretending to know exactly what you meant by that and clearly doesn't. Yeah, there you go. See, Line Breaker, I am responsible. I'm helping this young man fulfill his tribal duties. And he just gives her this withering look of someone had to deal with this all fucking day and is just at the end of his tether. And
it's the Justin Timberlake meme when he just stares.
Thornbreaker just mutters to Linebreaker, "We're all just trying to build the strongest pack possible."
He takes a deep breath and exhales with a level of "I am definitely controlling myself" kind of deep breath. Right, what's next on the fringe? Oh, I know what, Bowchester. And Linebreaker frowns. Weeping Blood goes, "Look, yeah, that place. Fucking hell." Weeping Blood turned up again. All right, you lot need to know this. I'm just going to turn the light on here because it's getting quite dark and I haven't turned the light on yet. Right. Wow. See, there's this place called Bowchester, right? And it's what we call a fucked up place. Clearstream, who's been quietly drinking and just not really interacting, is what Mother means is that it's interstitial terrain. Yeah, right, whatever. You can affect ignorance, Mother. Bowchester is a village, theoretically, to your west. It's not always there. In fact, it's quite rarely there. Weeping Bloods. Yeah, it's fucking awesome, right? Something straight out of a horror movie, okay? There are these people who live in there, but they aren't there most of the time, right? Most of the time you drive past, there's nothing there. But about, once a month, maybe? Bowchester's there. It's a shitty little village full of shitty little people, right? One of ours ended up in a tangle with them once. He said they don't taste right. They're like too strong, too fast, but they're not like claimed or anything. They're just not right. And Linebreaker's like, just shut the fuck up,
They're gonna try something.
Clearstream goes, you need to watch out because it's not always there. It's a village, like it's a couple miles outside your territory. The people there, as I said, don't exist most of the time, but they're not right. If you go in there,
leave.
Yes, and if you can't, and if you don't leave before it disappears again, we don't know what happens to people. Linebreaker nods solemnly there. Oh, one of the people was in there when it vanished once and never came out again. We don't know if he was killed or if something else happened, but essentially, says Prayer, it's a ghost village, if you like. I mean, not actual ghost, but it's like a ghost village. We don't know why it pops up and why it doesn't. Of course, I've done studies on this. I've done research. I think there's connections to some other stuff, but I won't bore you with that now. We'll just pretend you now. You see folk from Bowchester, because they started coming out. They're assholes. They started coming out of the village when it appears recently, and they're assholes. So just watch yourself on that front, all right? Don't go poking around in it. Linebreaker goes, something else. It appears we may have a dog walkers club.
What?
Look, wolf-blooded. It's if you like, it's a term for a group of wolf-blooded who have gathered together. Usually, ones who have experience of the people, either because they used to be pack members, or because they simply have had enough encounters with us that they know enough about us. A dog walk is acting together to, the purpose varies, but monitor werewolves. Sometimes they fancy themselves hunters. In some cases, in other cases, they are trying to understand more about what they're involved with. But we've had some run-ins with wolf-blooded, who are not ours. As far as we're aware, they're not anyone else's, and they appear to be acting in concert to surveil some of our pack. Clear Stream says, well, we haven't run into them, but to be blunt, she gestures at Johnny. When your great aunt kicked all of her, of course it's before my time, but when your great aunt kicked all the wolf-blooded out around here, there was a bit of an explosion of them across the Vale. There could be all manner of them.
Got it. So, great auntie fucked shit up. You cut out, Chris.
You're cut out.
So,
It's what the pure do, right?
so Thornbreaker is going to sort of gamble on this information and say, are you referring to the Oozers?
Linebreaker gives you a blank look. Prayer goes, I don't think they are. Do you know what an Oozer is?
Local...
It's an old it's an old tradition, right? Few places had Oozer masks, right? There are these big, these sort of demonic-looking things carved out of wood, which you have seen. The masks you describe. Am I coming through? The mask you've seen on the fear spirits all over the place, the lesser ones you've encountered. It's part of the old, rough music and all that. When people do bad shit, right? Communities around here used to have ways of dealing with that weren't the police, right? There's ways you expressed your disaffection, your displeasure towards them. You get a little pot and pans and bang outside their house. Sometimes it gets rougher than that. Sometimes people end up in a ditch they ain't getting out of. The Oozer were part of that. We're part of we're a demon to punish voice and all that. Part of the rough music in some places. Only some places did it. Not many of them around these days. I don't think it's to do with the Dog Walkers Club though. We haven't seen any, if you like, independent wolf-blooded running around our side though. Linebreaker shrugs. I'm just warning you, something's up. So keep an eye open. Well, what else is there to say?
Stormbringer's gonna go up and shake the keg of cider. Is there a lot left?
Not a huge amount, no. The Welf's been through it at quite a rate,
Enough that Stormbringer could finish himself.
Yes, though you will actually be drunk afterwards.
Perfect. He's gonna start drinking right from the keg. He's gonna rip the top off.
He just lays down on the floor.
No, he rips the top off and starts dipping the tankard in and drinking straight from the keg.
All right. Well, I think we're done, says Linebreaker. And thankfully, no one lost it tonight. No one made too much of a disgrace of themselves. And you can see again, his skin is blistering, almost like with burn marks. He's healing, but it's as if he has been burned by something. He looks uncomfortable. Weeping, come on, we're going. Thank you for your hospitality, Master Galloway. Hope we'll meet in future good meetings. Weeping Blood's like, okay, I'm scooping up these bottles. Oh, yeah, there we go. Hey, nice meeting you.
Do you need a bag?
No, I'm not letting go of these.
How much deer is left?
People didn't a fair amount. People didn't touch it that much because of everything else going on. But there is something. She's got the picture. But remember what I told you, right? You got to do. I can't even remember what I told you.
Urban legend, got it.
Yeah.
I'm gonna look around quickly. Do we have like parchment or something that I can wrap up the deer in?
Yeah, I assume you. If you
all right, I'm gonna real quick butcher off a bunch, wrap it up, and give it to her on top. Put it on top of the bottle.
Okay. Out into the rain. She does not appear affected by the weather at all, either. In a similar way to thingy. Not because not because she almost certainly has the same facet as you, but it's not her. She doesn't have the I am immune to my own effects. It's not her effect, but she has the reduce environmental penalties thing.
Right.
So despite the fact that she is loaded with stuff, she's walking with remarkably sure feet through the storm. After
Relatively sure-footed.
Yeah.
Right.
Clearstream and Prayer watch them go. Prayer struggles. Oh, he had it fucking coming with that curse, I tell you. That amused me. Clearstream sort of gives her a disapproving look. There is obviously something that she wishes to say to her mother that she's not going to say in front of you lot. There's stuff going on. But she turns and goes, so, are you happy with how the old lady's honoring went?
Hey, I just wanted to let the pure know that don't come fucking around here.
Well, I hope they got the message. I certainly think they did. Yeah. They will. They'll come knocking one day, but as Mother says, you probably earned yourself a good amount of time.
I expected. I kind of walked into Gallycrow's territory. No, Miscast territory.
Yes. Soph obviously has something on her mind with you one way or another.
I look forward to it.
But you did well. I think you did well. I'll be honest. I expect many people were expecting you to make fools of yourselves one way or another, but you didn't. I don't mean that.
Give it time.
I punched Johnny pretty hard.
Do we need to, Mother? Is there anything else we need to attend to here? She shrugs. Well, firstly, is there anything? Are you all right? I mean, apart from she points at Stormbringer. I mean, apart from your flesh being shredded like you've been put through a cheese grater, that'll pass, right? You guys are right.
Fine.
I'm hardier than that. We'll be okay.
I'd like to ask a favor.
Ooh, I like favors. I mean, someone gives me stuff.
I'm not particularly good. I don't know how to summon spirits. I was wondering if you could help me petition an Aralu Nim to come down.
You want me to conjure one down for you? And she says in a way that implies that she already knows why. And why might that be, young man?
I'm cashing in on something I've done.
Oh, glad to hear it. All right. And then she twitches, tilts her head as if aware of something. Goes, well, I got to fucking do it now, haven't I? Not really to you. She says, I got to do it. Fuck it. I forgot to fucking do it now, haven't I? And then nods. Well, I'll tell you what. Let's have a look quickly. Where is it? All right. Reaches into the fire and takes one of the burning sticks in that's burning and holds out without apparently. There's a bit of a sizzle of flesh, which isn't that badly affected otherwise. The flame stops and starts licking round her hand rather than through it, and the burning stops. All right then, I'll go and get ready. Walks out into the room. Walks out into
Which one's the Aralu Nim?
The new moon. The new moon.
The full moon is Ralu.
Cunning?
Aralu Nim is cunning new moon, yeah.
Okay. I was gonna say, because I can summon the full moon ones.
She walks out into the darkness,
Or
and
one full moon.
the fire on the stick starts to ebb as also the rain hammers down on it. It blows on it, and it erupts in a blatantly supernatural way. And she steps out, and she's marking flaming marks on the ground, and it shouldn't be burning, but she's just doing it anyway. Clearstream looks at you appraisingly, shrugs, goes and rests by the door watching her mother mark it out. And in very short order, there is a mark of first tongue. There's a ring out there, a circle marked with first tongue runes and other marks you don't respect. Blazing. It's unnaturally blazing from the stick. And then she seems to release her power, and the stick sort of fizzles out. And the flames become briefly natural, and then obviously wash out because there's rain hammering down. But in the aftermath, as your eyes are trying to react, your senses are brilliant, but everything seems darker with the flame gone from brilliant fire into darkness. And she says, "You might as well come out now."
I step out.
I wasn't talking to you, but and there is a noise from atop the barn as something darker against the black. Somehow starlit, despite the fact there are clouds overhead, moves above you. And you get the impression of something sort of slithering down, and then with a sort of a crack of light, eyes start to poke from the starlight. Spots crack into eyes that open of you. Eyes, they're not really eyes, they're like something like eyes, but then there isn't an iris or a pupil glowing with starlight. You've come as cold. Well, you came before you were fucking cold, didn't you, bastard? Oh, you come as cold, and I have summoned ye on a part of this young wolf who wishes to claim his deeds to ye. Now, thou, she points to you, thou wish got something to say to this spirit of our mother and our queen, right? The true queen, not like the wolf queens. No, I say to ye, spirit, send my greetings to the true queen and my pledge of fealty, and let her know that here in the Vale we remain faithful and true. And now it's over to you, young man. And the thing slithers down, and from inside, the guys inside the barn, it's like a drape of night dropping over as something, and then away, folding. Something moving almost a bit like a jellyfish. There's a strange flowing movement of shadow and darkness pinpricked with starlight eyes. Moving, flowing around, warily at a distance around Johnny. I've been watching you, and I've come.
If you've been watching me, then you know why I've called. I'd like to be recognized for my deeds many moons ago.
What deeds are these?
Removing the tree of heads.
Don't speak.
Oh.
Whisper. Whisper.
So,
Obviously, say it as you would a whisper. It's sort of.
So I whisper to him, and like really low, so it's really hard for everybody to hear, and I like lean into it. Removing the tree of heads, bringing in a way that brought no attention to myself, but to my packmates.
That was a deed of thunder, and storm, of noise, or clamour. Tell me, you think it was cunning?
I used natural phenomenon to do my job quickly.
Why didn't you want the attention? Why did you want your packmates to earn it instead?
A glorious Araka is a dead Araka.
It shivers and flows, reconfiguring its form. Come, you and I, into the dark to contemplate this. And it begins to move away, properly into the real dark, away from the light of the barn.
I'm gonna follow it.
Prayer wanders back into the thing and goes, well, your boy's either dead or getting carved up by the... Well, your boy's getting carved up by it. He's either dead or he's getting marked with renown. Best leave them in privacy, right? Well, young one, she says to Clearstream, time we be getting out of here. My old bones need a rest, you know, especially with this storm kicking off. She just looks at Stormbringer. Time to get home, right?
I kind of give a sheepish look.
As they're about to go, Clearstream just looks at Thornbreakers. Just one last thing before we go. I saw a fox spirit when we were nearby. Do you know about fox spirits?
I know of fox spirits back home. Are they different here?
Yes. Her mother goes, well, that knowledge is worth something. So she nods. Yes, indeed, they are different. Her mother sort of steps up, walks out into the rain. She looks back and goes, at the very least, if you make an agreement with one, never tell them you offer them no payment, but they will take payment. But let them take the payment when it happens.
So tell them we offer them no payment, but
they will take it, and you have to let them. Yeah. And then she follows her mother out to the rain. Out in the darkness, there is pain as the Iralunim drifts over you, touches you gently, and at its gentle touch, it is like pain, the burning pain of an intensely powerful jellyfish's murderous stings, as it drifts across you and enwraps you almost like a sort of flowing veil. So Johnny's renown burns and flares as it carves a new dot of cunning into you. So spend 3 XP or go into XP debt if needed.
I'm going to do that.
And what cunning are you now?
3.
Once it is done, once its caress is finished and you feel remade, it flows away. You can't even see it now. It's even with your senses, you just can't see it. You hear it. It says, "I accept your story. I accept your deeds. You'll need to impress us far more in future." And then it's simply gone. So, rain storming down. The thunder is mostly fading off, but it's going to be around for a good few hours yet of full-bore storm. And the 3 of you are alone in your blood-slicked, reeking barn with burned flesh. The fire is starting to die down, leaving these seared meat and skulls. And these 2 weapons stabbed point first into the ash. Their wrappings and their ornaments, that is obviously burned away, but the blades themselves remain pretty fucking hot. You've successfully managed your way through that with only acceptable levels of violence and bloodshed that you intended to happen anyway. I imagine they're probably quite tired given the time, the duration, the tension. But you are once again by yourselves with only your totem.
Thornbreaker leans against the table and says, "I think that went rather well."
Swimmingly.
Yeah, I'd say so.
You achieved victory, says the totem. You have shown them who you are. You have shown my banner to them. For that, I thank you. You have done what I need. You have shown me. You have proven yourselves again to me. You did not need to yet in this. And every day you prove yourselves again. And the walkie-talkie squawks into life as Mary goes, "Just saying, the last vehicle's gone. Haven't seen any other problems. Are you all right in there? I didn't see anything like catch fire or anything."
I'm gonna pick up the radio. Go over. Yeah, everything's fine. Why don't you come down to the barn for a drink?
I mean, it's pissing down. I'd rather go to sleep. I've got work tomorrow, and it's like really late. I do appreciate the offer, but
We'll celebrate tomorrow night.
We'll have a
Okay.
drink tomorrow then.
Right,
Have a good night.
As long as we're good night.
Well, on that note, boys, Stormbreaker gets up and says, "I'm gonna get some sleep myself."
So Thornbreaker heads out. Is Johnny gonna presumably head off as well? Stormbringer, the last dregs in the cask. You're there, got the barrel. Going, you've emptied that fucking cask out by this point.
We said we would.
I take a couple.
Had to make sure we did.
bottles to. I take a couple of bottles to fall asleep with, and I head back inside.
Yeah. So you're the Stormbringer's the last out there as you finish up the thing. You look around. There's blood. There's ash. There's the lingering smell of all these wells, and everything fucking hurts, right? And even though it is the tiredness of a victor that you feel. It may not have been as glorious as you were perhaps hoping in a sort of "I shall smack him down," but it was a real fight, not in a way maybe.
I was expecting a real. The Stormbringer was expecting a real fight, so I'm glad it was.
Yeah, it was a bit of a give and take in there at one point. But you had what you wanted. So I'm going to assume that Stormbringer eventually drunkenly staggers back with remarkable sure-footedness through the storm to go and crash out as well.
He's actually going to ride the high of the victory, and probably just spend the whole night sitting up in the barn, just enjoying the storm and reveling in it all.
The totem stays. He doesn't say much or anything really.
Yeah, he throws wood on the fire every once in a while and just kind of sits and enjoys it.
The totem sits atop the stand, the banner that is still stabbed into the ground, and keeps you company. There are no real words spoken, but it stays there with you till whenever the dawn comes and you are finally asleep among the wreckage of your revel.
That's it. He's gonna shift into Urhan in some corner of the barn and sleep, and that'll be how he kind of spends the morning.
Okay. Now for the other two, Thornbreaker heads to bed first, and you see there the inevitable, the wispy, effervescing message on your mirror, who's and I don't know how Thornbreaker reacts to it this time. I know you were getting like, "Oh hi, it's you again."
Yeah, Thornbreaker says, "Have a good night, Samantha, and climbs into bed.
It hasn't been there at night before. This is the first time you've had it before bed. It's been there when you wake up. You climb into bed and into the embrace of dreams. Lurid silver dreams. Dreams of Luna. Johnny, you settle down for your bed, you get ready, and you see her in the mirror. You see this spirit, this presence that only briefly comes sometimes, looking at you. There's a woman. There's a woman you recognise that's Clarice. She looks at peace, or not angry at least, and it shivers and it's you, and it shivers back to another woman who looks a lot like Clarice but different, you know.
Like younger?
Yes, but not just younger Clarice, but a younger presumed relative.
Oh.
And she touches the inside of the glass moment and then sort of pulls it away, and the spirit shifts to you again. Yes. Do you feel that you are better than you were? Says you to you.
Yeah, I do. The pure respect my claim, and not as one of the pure, but as one of the forsaken.
That is what she wished. Or she wished for you to come back. She wished for her to come back.
Wait, for who to come back? Who wished for it, rather?
The one here before you. The old wolf.
Why would an old ivory claw want to, no offense to myself, but a brash upstart hunter in darkness to come back here?
You are the end line of a thread that connects to her. She watched her daughter leave, and her daughter never came back.
Me coming back here is just a way to close the loop.
The question is, are you good enough? It's changed to you again, but you look pretty beat. You know, you do not look healthy, as it were, in this one. You look grim, sort of storm swept and scowling. Can you ever be good enough?
Don't know, but I'll keep climbing.
And then it shifts, and it's the younger woman who is not Clarice, but looks like her. Does it matter if you're ever good enough?
Really heavy before bed, I say.
And then it shifts again, and now it's Clarice, but again, not looking like she wasn't death, looking lively. And she touches the mirror and goes, "You have claimed this place. Will you now stay?"
Like I kind of like bite my thumb and I put some blood on the mirror. Yes.
And in the mirror, she bites and touches against it, and you feel something solid, warmth of flesh when she touches it. And then she turns from the mirror and you see her sort of vanish out, and the spirit, or the presence, is gone. And the blood is also gone from the mirror where you touched it.
Well, good night, spirit.
And you settle down to bed. Well-earned victory. So one, the Rahu among the drunken spoils curling up as a wolf in the corner in the blood and booze. The Caliph gripped by something greater than he now in his mind and his dreams. And Johnny settling down as the master of the house, at least technically, and into a deep sleep. And that is the end of Chapter 1, The Hunt. As you have take your well-earned rest, as we've gone a bit over time today just to sort of finish up things, I guess. But let's do aspirations. Okay, Johnny, tell me
All right.
about your aspirations.
So, Aspiration number 1 is find out why the territory was left to me. I feel that either that was closed or some headway was just made with that.
I'll give you that. Yep, a bit of headway.
Second was establish ourselves at the trophy meet, which we totally did.
Yep, definitely.
And the third one was to learn more about the local pure and observing
Yeah.
Jonathan's combat capabilities and all the other stuff. I feel that came up.
Okay, Stormbringer.
All right. So we're gonna check the first one right off the list. There's no argument here.
Yep.
Before session, I had switched from kick Jonathan Dunstan in the face to firmly plant my foot in his ass, and I think I may need to go see a doctor to remove it. Because not only did I plant my foot up his ass, but then I showed myself to be the bigger person by offering him drink and telling him that I hope that this is buried now.
Yep.
The second one was to prove that this is ours. I think I fair-handedly did my part in that. I think we all did a great job in doing that.
Yep.
Now the last one, I think I started to do well, and then I think I may have shot myself in the foot, which doesn't surprise me because it's me. And it's not entirely true. So I wanted to raise Stormbringer's social standing with the elders, and kind of gain their respect a little bit. And when it comes to Prayer of Castigation, I think she certainly, at least respects me and us a little bit. We kind of walked in, the young guys, and we definitely, held up our end of everything and really proved ourselves fairly well, I believe.
Mm-hmm.
But I think the social faux pas with Saf may have put a slight hindrance in that, unless she does respect the fact that he's a little bit brash and cocky in his own kind of way.
I'll give you the beat on that because generally I think you did okay with that. There were some stumbles, but I will give you the beat on that.
Well, I was more referring to the wink that didn't go the way I was hoping it would.
That's what I mean by the stumble.
But at the same time, I was hoping that maybe because it was like that maybe she just respected the fact that he had that little bit of brashness about him as well.
She didn't seem angry overall, and she just that pissed her off a bit. But and
Right.
finally, Thornbreaker.
Yes. All right. So my first aspiration was to broker a controlled fight between Jack and Dunstan, which I felt
Which obviously happened.
it
Yeah,
was, yeah.
definitely.
The second
You're
one,
welcome.
yeah, the second one I didn't hit tonight, which is develop a deeper connection with Jenny.
Mhm.
The third one is earn more glory or notoriety. I would argue I probably did when I was outspoken.
Notoriety, certainly aspect of it. And I don't mean that in a purely bad way. I mean certainly
Sure.
you made more of an impact there.
Throwing that hand grenade, if nothing else.
Yeah.
That is
Hey, room full of werewolves, pull pin, throw grenade.
1 XP each and 9 beats left over.
Nice.
So not quite enough to get 2 XP, but a good chunk of XP. So with that, with their, shall we say, triumph, I think overall, certainly survival, certainly making their mark. That is the end of story 1 of Very Angry Dogs, The Hunt. Obviously, for anyone watching this either here right now or who will be watching on YouTube later, so this one went on a bit longer than usual. It was kind of, as sort of the end piece of the story, I guess it was kind of likely to happen one way or another. I'd say we are likely to have another story at the very least of this game going forward, or more very angry dogs. I think we are not having anything next week anyway, because I think someone can't make it. But after that, we may well see the return. What exactly that will look like? Hey, who will be? We may have some new people. We may not. I'm not going to nail down anything for certain at this point. But just so everyone knows, the next story, if it happens, is going to be called Possession. And will relate very much. I think the focus will be about the pack and their territory now, and sort of settling in and coming to grips with the land they now own and the things on it that are threats and troubles. This first story has been a bit of a touching briefly on lots of different things, because as a bit of an example of play for well for the sake, and I wanted to sort of throw us through lots of elements while focusing on the core thing of the hunt, etc. I think we've done that, and we've set a lot of the foundations, we've set a lot of the scene. So the next step in this story is really about the pack getting comfortable with the land they own and finding all the horrible things on it. I hope you'll join us again for that as when it happens. But for today, I think that is it from us. So thank you very much for watching, and I hope to see you again next time. Goodbye.